What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Apex the Podcast. Ladies and gents, we are fresh off of a LAN. We have so much stuff to talk about. We're going to go through the entire LAN here, go through all of the storylines, which teams did well, obviously talk about our winner, Dark Zero, go through all of the crazy stuff that happened in the LAN. It was a great LAN, and then we're gonna highlight some news here that we're probably gonna get to in later episodes. We just want to drop it, let everybody know what's going on, and then give our analysis a little bit later on. But there is a lot going on. We've got roster mania already, lots of things moving around, moving pieces. But before we get into all of that good stuff, let's check in with the boys. E, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Things are looking nice for our LCQ chances. The boys have been performing really well in scrims, and we've been working with PvP as well. And that's been a tremendously positive experience because, like, don't get me wrong, I think I'm a pretty good coach, but the areas in which I'm strong as a coach versus the areas that PvP are strong as a coach are pretty different. And being able to watch the way that he's led some of these like meetings that we've had, and just the way that he's covered different subjects, there's definitely areas where he's leaps and bounds just a better coach than me. And so it's been nice to be able to learn from him in that aspect. But it's been good. It's been fun. He's been helping us out for a little bit while he is in between teams. And so we'll see what happens as a result of that. But I definitely think it's going to have a positive impact on our chances towards LAN. And other than that, life's going good. Nothing to complain about. And I'm optimistic and hopeful for the future. And I'm just going to continue to try to do my best to be irrationally optimistic as I go through. What about you, Wyatt? How's the week treating you?
Hold on, E. How you feeling about LCQ coming up?
Oh, I think we're gonna win.
Okay.
I think we're gonna win. I have the full expectation that we're gonna win. People might think that it's like, well, how would you think that? I'm like, why would I not think that? Like, I feel like as a coach, obviously, if I didn't really see the potential that we had, you're just kind of like saying something just to say it. But like, I genuinely, when I look at the team and the roster and the way we're just continuing to get better the more time that they play together, and like we're getting so many mistakes out of the way and we're still doing really well in scrims. Like, we won yesterday and got second today. And yesterday we had 3 different, like, everybody on the team threw a game. Chaotic potentially a second one. Got a little greedy in a death box and a way too late of a circle. So that's a potential second for him, and we won. Like, with having 3 different games full chalked by each one of the players. And so when you're like doing things like that, it's hard not to feel like you're going to win, because I feel like we've played bad the last 2 days and we're first. And so it's only going to be that much better when we have a good day. And Zach and Naughty, they show up different on game day, especially as a duo. And so I'm really excited to see them pop off and play with Chaotic and just start to come into like the form in the team that they can be. And PvP is definitely helping us get there a whole lot quicker. And I'm excited. It'll be fun. Like, we're going to win. Like, we're definitely like going to champs. No doubt.
I feel like you'd have to be the worst coach ever to be like asked that question and just be like, we'll do all right, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, like you gotta have the expectation that your boys are going to win. You got to.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's just such a better position to approach the situation from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Finn, how's your week going?
Dang, Wyatt, you guys got out of that. That's crazy. Don't
Yeah,
feel like...
Whoa. I asked you how your week was.
I thought it might work. I tried to squeeze it in. We'll see. Didn't work this time. Maybe it will next time. My week was good. Today I really had to implement some of the Enoch teachings of, it's a really bad day, but it's only a bad day if you allow it to be a bad day. Because right now in the Central Valley, it's like hovering around 105, 110. And I work in a shop, and there's no AC. It's just extremely hot. Luckily, it is a dry heat. That's some Enoch thinking right there. It could be humid heat. It's not. It's a dry heat, which isn't as hard to deal with, I would assume. But also the fridge broke, so we were just drinking like room temperature water, and we got a new fridge yesterday, so that's also another positive. So now the water still wasn't cold yet today because the fridge had to I guess it has to like warm up. I don't even know, cool down. I don't know. But the water wasn't cold yet. But hopefully tomorrow the water will be cold. And yes, I definitely had to implement some of the Enoch teachings because when you're dealing with things that are difficult at work, but you're also simultaneously hot as shit, it is not easy to handle, and it's not easy to keep a good attitude. But with a little bit of work, a little bit of elbow grease, you can manage it. So that's what I've been doing this week, just dealing with the heat, feeling good. Also, my truck has no AC, so it's like there is no sweet release when work ends. I just have to roll down the windows and just let nature do its thing. And yeah, so
Shout out Wen though.
yeah, the window.
Shout out Wen, the absolute
Shout out
MVP
Wen.
Nature's AC.
Nature's AC,
Of,
baby.
of your drive home.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at. Finn, how's your week going?
I am extremely sore. That's pretty much it. Like, realistically, dude, I thought the transition going back into the old working out was going to be a lot easier, and it definitely wasn't going to hurt nearly as bad as it hurts right now. But I'm in some pain for sure. My arms, mainly my shoulder, it feels like I've got a constant 20-pound weight on top of it. So, I got to go past the suck to get to the greatness, right? So, once again, some Enoch thinking. You got to go through the suck to get to the other side a little bit, So, anything worth doing is definitely like we're sucking right at the beginning and then getting better at it. Yeah, I did. I quickly realized, I looked at both of y'all and realized this is probably going to get clipped for sure.
No, I agree.
So,
yeah, I agree.
Anyway, that's all to say. I'm on the grind right now, and I do feel better. I won't see probably results for a little bit of time, which is fine, but it's all about consistency, eating healthy. I've been eating carrots, dude. I never ate carrots in my life, bro. And I'm starting to eat carrots. I'm eating some arugula, eating some, I don't know, peppered ham. I mean, all kinds of stuff. Anyway, also got to watch some amazing ALGS this past week. So I would say my week overall has been great, that I really can't complain. And that's about it.
There we go. That's right. I'm surprised you've never just smashed on carrots before.
No.
Carrots rule, dude.
They are.
Carrots
They're
rule.
so sick.
Yeah.
I don't really have a good dipping sauce for them, but they're actually not bad just by themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I think the typical dipping sauce is ranch with carrots, because it's on the cover of the ranch a lot of times. But no, carrots rule. The only thing that sucks about carrots, though, especially if you get the cool ones, like the cold ones, and you get them in the little pack, is when you're chewing on after the 6th or 7th one, jaw starts to hurt. But then you're just working out your jaw muscles, so you're just you're winning all the way around. You're getting better eyesight. You can see like an eagle, and you have a strengthened jaw, just in case,
I Googled it, since we are now Googling quite a bit more now on this podcast.
You learn any more about big plastic?
No.
Are you good?
I actually invested more in big plastic. I might be the op. I'm not even kidding. I got him, Enoch. I went to Walmart and got some more K-Cups. It was a Twix flavored coffee. So
that's how they get you.
It is. Anyway, so big
selling
plastic.
Your health.
Yeah.
Selling your health for a little flavor.
A little bit of Twix. Yeah, I know. I don't know.
Yeah.
What was the other thing that I was gonna say?
Those taste buds just went in the war. Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They always
plastic
do.
Sell out.
Often do. I don't remember what I was even saying with that.
I mean, you're back. I'm assuming you're back heavy on the coffee grind.
Oh yeah, well, still am. Yeah, hasn't switched. I don't know what I was saying, and I feel upset because I had a good point going, but
About big plastic? You
No,
could
no,
you
no.
can't tell me a
No,
point about big
I'm
plastic.
an op. I'm an
My
op. I
mind
guess.
is made up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anything else other than that?
I guess that's it. I had something, but I lost it.
If it comes back to you, I want you to let me know.
Okay, all right.
Because I'd like to have this conversation. Okay, well, that is all of our weeks, ladies and gents. Let's move forward into the Apex side of things. Now, really quickly, before we get into LAN, there is a shit ton of news. There's a lot of news that has been coming around about just roster switches, all that different type of stuff that we want to get into in later episodes. We feel like it'd be better if we kind of broke it down and had like another week of analysis on some of these things. But the major ones being Koifel going with I'm blanking.
Koifel went to Sentinels.
Koifel went to Sentinels.
Yep.
Then we have Alb moving over into his Watson spot in Furia, which leads to the biggest one here. And we'll actually talk about this one later on in the show, probably after the interview. We're going to talk a little bit about his Watson and his retirement, but Alb is going to be filling that spot. We'll have our thoughts about that later on. Mandy getting back on into the competitive grind. We'll talk about that as well, because that one's actually huge. Mandy, friend of the program. We got Tyler leaving, and then when you said kinda getting dropped,
That's the guy's name is kinda.
Is kinda?
Yeah, he plays for E6. Yeah.
Okay.
E6, and then Tyler left Vexed, which is also an EU team.
Exactly. So we're gonna have all of. Well, go ahead.
Where do you guys think he's going? Because he said see you in Birmingham.
Yeah, I know. So that means he's joining a team, but I don't. Would it be E6? E6 isn't qualified.
I was thinking E6 could be the one.
Has E6 automatically qualified for champs? I mean, it would.
I mean, they popped off last.
Let me see.
Didn't they do well last LAN?
I think they might.
I can look right now.
They definitely are. I feel like they have to be auto qualified. I feel like it's definitely.
Let
If
me
E6
look
is qualified for champs, it's a guaranteed lock, and that's wraps.
Let me see. E6.
Because like, if you have to think about it, the only reason.
Yeah, E6 is already qualified for champs.
Yeah, then it's definitely Tyler. Tyler's going to E6 because that's like the only person I can see them wanting to
pick up,
drop kinda for.
It'd be maybe Mandy, but then I was like, I think maybe
Nah,
I think Mandy's waiting for after
he's-
champs before he does anything.
Mandy's, yeah, and like Mandy's like nuts, but they're definitely. I feel like it's got like with Tyler leaving at the same time as all that, there's just no way.
Pretty sure kinda is also a roller player.
Yeah, 100%.
So
Yeah, he's like a 17-year-old roller player who's like nuts.
Yeah.
Very talented. I don't know what his performance at LAN looked like, but I can like it only makes sense that they would throw away an opportunity because like with kind of being as young and talented as he is, he has a lot of room to grow as a player, and
Tyler kind of fits that mold of been there,
he's already like
done
really
that
good.
Yeah.
But like Tyler has significantly more experience and knows that he can like pop off and play well in those high intense moments. Obviously, they didn't do too well at this LAN, but I don't know how much of that would be directly put on kinda. But the only reason I see them dropping him is because they're getting Tyler.
Yeah, that actually
sure.
makes a lot of sense. I think, like I said,
Kinda's a sick name.
I think it is.
It's like kind 4.
Yeah, it's within yeah. I do think
I'm sorry I didn't know his name because that's a sick name to have.
It's okay. It's okay. I do think Mandy's gonna wait till maybe after champs and then see from there, because I think he wants to go on like probably a higher, well-established team. I don't think Mandy's the type that's gonna want to, unless they are absolute fraggers and he's played with them a lot in ranked. I don't see Mandy joining, like making having to do a hodgepodge team. I think he's gonna want to join an established duo of some kind or somebody that he's super familiar with. But okay, we aren't going to talk too much about it. Yeah, sorry, but we talked a little bit, a little sneak peek there.
A little sneak preview, yeah. But yeah, we're gonna get into all of those other storylines as the weeks progress, because we don't want to have another situation where we were just literally answering Reddit questions waiting for something to happen. So we'll have all of our analysis of all those things. Plus, we have a lot to chew through here with this LAN. So that's all of the news. We are aware of it. We're going to talk about it more here in the upcoming weeks. But boys, let's move into the split 2 LAN. And boy, what a LAN it was. I think we have to first congratulate our champions, Dark Zero. I mean, that final game was that final circle in the final game was some of the most chaotic final circles like I have seen, where the team just looked like they were just completely out of luck. There was no way they were going to win. They find a way somehow. I don't know how they baited energy off of the top there to get him to come down. They get him to come down, finish it off, and they basically kind of like slithered with their way through behind everybody else and just managed to stay alive long enough so that they could come out on top. But Dark Zero, another great performance by them. That is 3 LAN wins for them. And a lot of people are already asking the question, and I'm sure we'll get to it here in a second, but Zero, IGL, 3 LAN wins, TSM, Imperial Hal, 3 LAN wins. It's getting closer and closer, and I don't know what your guys' opinions are, but before we get into all that, let's just talk a little bit about Dark Zero. Finn, your thoughts on them winning this LAN?
Okay. Wait, I think Hal has maybe. I think Hal has 4, doesn't he? Does he not? He might not. No, I think he has 4.
It's 3.
I think he has 4, right? Or is he tied? Hold on. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's 3-3.
Is it 3-3? Because what, it would have been the
X Games,
I think
Poland,
X Games Poland,
and then the other one they won.
and then the split 1 playoffs. What
Yeah,
about Sweden? Oh wait, no, DZ won Sweden, didn't they?
DZ won that one.
DZ,
I got it from
it's
Vicky
3-3.
Kitty,
It's
the
3-3
broadcaster.
at like S
Oh, okay.
tier.
What? Could you send that over?
She tweeted it out.
Oh, is it
Yeah,
the
yeah,
same?
I'll find it to
Okay, okay, that's what it was. I think it's that Hal has more technically like more wins at a like A plus or A tier or higher. I think as well. Like
yeah,
major
but there's 3-3
tournaments.
in S tier, and Zero is only 20K less than him in earnings now,
That's kind of wild.
which is nuts.
Yeah, that's pretty.
That's
wild.
nuts. The head start that Hal had, the comeback of Zero is phenomenal.
Yeah, I think. Do we want to get into that now, or would we rather wait for that like argument? I think that's a whole different thing that we can maybe cover on the back end of
What do you mean? Like, what do you mean by argument?
argument to be made about who's the better IGL or who's the best in the world at the current moment, or actually now the GOAT. Like who's now the GOAT? At the current moment.
I think that Hal's. I mean, do you guys want to talk about it? Because I
hold
think
on.
it's very.
Do you want to do that now, or do you
like,
want to wait till after
we
interview?
can't. I mean, if we have to put something out, I mean, I'm down to do it now.
Okay, then let's do it now.
All right, I think that Hal is definitely like he's still the CEO, still the legend, still the best to do it. You can't take that away from him quite yet. And even if Zero wins the next one, he might go down as like the best player, but he will not ever have CEO title, in my opinion, unless he starts streaming. But like that dude just doesn't stream. He doesn't have nearly the social media presence. The Dark Zero fan base isn't anywhere close to the level of TSM. Like, don't get me wrong, they're a phenomenal team, and I think right now Zero's the better IGL, or at least the more successful one as of late. But I mean, like, it's hard to say that when Hal and them literally get second. Like, that's so close. Like, it's hard to argue that like Hal's like fallen off, right? Like, you can't even say that. And so I think it's going to be really fun to watch moving forward. But I don't think there's any amount of success that Zero could have that would offset the fact that Hal just has significantly more people out there who not only like know about him, who care about him and want that man to succeed, and the absolute like TSM fandom and just how big of a population of the Apex fans as a whole that it makes up. I mean, it's very, very difficult to think that you could take CEO title away just because you win a couple more tournaments.
Yeah, I agree with it in that aspect. I'm thinking more in just the recent like IGL, like who's the best IGL. I don't think you could ever take CEO away from Hal. I don't think that'll ever happen. He is the face of Apex. Like he just is. Like even in years where Tom Brady didn't win Super Bowls, you'd still say he was the face of the NFL. Like he
And
was,
cheat.
yeah, he did do that as well. Because even when he wasn't winning Super Bowls, he was cheating and
He was
still
still
not winning
cheating.
Super Bowls. Exactly, but no, it is. I think right now I would say that 0 is the best IGL right now. And I'm going off of recency bias. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. Like there's probably a good amount of plays that I haven't seen from both of these guys, but that final match, that final circle, I don't know how he was able to manage that. Like with all of the chaos and with all of the calming he probably like had to do to keep everyone up and then find a way to win. Like it's so hard for me to think that anybody else is on like that level other than Hal right now, but he came away with the win. So I would give it to 0 right now. He's done it more recently, but Hal will never not be the CEO. He will always be the CEO. He is the face of this game. He will continue to be the face of this game. And I was thinking about it, like if there ever comes a LAN where TSM doesn't qualify, how much lower do you think the numbers are going to be? Because every single stream that I was watching, like the every third or fourth comment was, is TSM playing? It's like that's how big of an impact he's had on this scene alone. So it's like, yes, he will always be CEO, but right now I do kind of feel like 0 is sliding into that spot where he is just that guy. He's the one who is just able to get his team where he wants, and he comes away with another victory in such a short time span with art, like, and to be honest, such a drastically changing roster. They got rid of their coach, they changed players like 5 times. It still didn't matter. He still found a way to get his team to victory. That's my thoughts on it. Finn?
Yeah, no, I think you guys pretty much nailed most of what I was gonna say. I think I will say this, and maybe you guys don't feel that way, but I think partially it's because no one on this team streams like ever. Not even Jin. Like Jin Burton and 0, and then Xynew's the only one that streams, right? And he streams a lot and he grinds the game quite a bit. Not saying the other two don't necessarily do that, but they just don't stream. I think I am going to go out on a limb and say that I think Dark Zero is like the people were saying this, and I think that they're probably right. Like, I think. Okay, let me gather my thoughts more clearly. But essentially, I think Dark Zero is like the villains in a way of Apex Esports. Not that they are.
That's fair.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
definitely think that they take the title of villain over 0. Definitely is like the villain more so than design at this point.
Yeah, I agree, and I think because of like Wyatt mentioned, a lot of changes early. Like, there's a lot. I mean, 0 is willing to make a change even if there are number 1 in the world. Like, that's how ruthless this guy is, and that's and obviously he doesn't care because he likes to win and cares to win, and he's very good at what he's doing. I think there's no denying that. But I think because you don't get to see all the personality, you don't get to see, a lot of the behind the scenes that you get whenever you're looking at a TSM, an XSET, an NRG, teams that have different people that are streaming. I think that there's an aspect of just like villain arc. The only things that you hear or see are the drops, right? The people leaving the team. And so therefore you don't think of that as like a positive thing because those people come out and say like, oh, I didn't like this or this or this, and that doesn't take away from them being super good at the game. And I think if we're discussing specifically 0, he might be able to take GOAT status, but I don't, like you guys said, the CEO aspect, the impact overall of what Hal does comparatively to pretty much everybody else that's played this game is astronomical compared to if you're comparing each other. So I think in esport, I think you can say that 0 right now would technically be taking the spot from him. And I think that does hurt Hal a little bit. I think I saw Hal kind of responding to a lot of the tweets talking about the new GOAT status and arguments and stuff. I think he was kind of taking a lot of that to heart because he's like, oh, no, not yet. Like, he hasn't passed me in earnings or passed me in major wins and all this sort of stuff. So I think in some regard, he's kind of feeling the pressure, and noticing that people are kind of taking that title away from him as the GOAT status. So this is definitely, I think you guys can agree with me here. I don't think that there's now an argument between any other IGLs in the world as the best IGLs.
No,
Like,
I mean, it's just
no.
not even
Yeah.
close. They're just simply operating at a different level than everybody else.
Yeah.
And it's just not, it's not close.
He's done.
Yeah.
I will say there is a lot of credibility for Hal in that he's done it for a long time. Like, he's been great. He's been at the top for so long. I think that there is a lot of validity to his argument being the best in a tie comparison right now, because Hal was doing this in 2019, right? Like, he was winning tourneys in 2019. I think he's won a tourney all the way every single year, you know, all the way up to here. So I think the longevity aspect of what he's done is super valid. And I think, I don't know if I made the argument that I would say Zero was better at the current moment. Because I think Zero is, but I think I actually am going to give the GOAT status still to Hal right now until Zero takes that from him, aka wins another. If they win champs, if DZ wins champs, dude, I'm taking the GOAT status. Dare I say, from Hal, which is fine. I'm okay with doing that. But I mean, you know what I'm saying? I think you have to at that point if you take a major win, like especially a champs. But I don't know. What they're both doing is super impressive. Don't get it twisted. I mean, I think it's neck and neck. And then I do not.
It's cool.
Know.
It's cool to watch.
These debates are fun. Like, for so long there was no debate, or
Dude,
I guess the one would be sweet, but now it's like legit. There's a real like debate.
It's like if Michael Jordan and
LeBron
James.
Oh man,
yeah, it's like if Michael Jordan and LeBron James were playing at the same time having the GOAT debate.
Yeah,
like that's what it's like.
Yeah. One last thing about this, I think that should be mentioned too, and this is going on the side of Hal. There is a weird thing that humans like to do, and you see it especially in sports, where if somebody has been at the top for so long, it's weird things that we do as humans where we try to like find anything to replace that thing that has been there for so long. Like, if you look at MVPs in the NBA, you could have arguably given MJ every MVP in those championship years when they were winning. And a lot of time, not all the time, but there was a few MVPs that were like given to other people because of how long he had been there. And it's like, oh, I guess we can't just give it to Michael again. We got to give like that. That also might be why people are having this debate, because he's been at the top for so long that now like this fresh face is coming along. People are like, oh no, it's him now. They just want so badly to crown something and somebody new, you know? And so like that might also be why this debate is rearing up, but that's not to take anything away from Zero and his accomplishments. It's just something that people like to do. You know, it's just, we've always liked to do stuff like that. So, that's more on the side of Hal, but I still think it's awesome to have this type of debate, and it's awesome to have something like this in Apex Esports, because for so long it had always just been the CEO. He was the CEO, and the only person who had come close to that was Sweet. And now you could arguably say that it's Zero, Sweet, Hal.
No, not Sweet, dude.
One.
Sweet's not in the discussion anymore.
You're taking him out? Why do you hate Sweet so much, bro?
It's not.
You just hate.
I would say the
energy,
same
bro.
thing for Nocturnal too. Like, and same for Hackies. Like,
no, I agree with you.
I
agree.
Like, that doesn't mean that they're not phenomenal, but I don't think that. I think at this point there's not even an argument besides those two. Like every other argument I think is invalid, because who's doing the stuff that they're doing right now? Who has 3 major championships? They don't, and It's crazy because
nobody else has won one.
That's what I'm saying. It's between 2.
That's the fact that we've had 6 major LANs and only 2 IGLs have won. Mm-hmm. That's absurd.
Yep.
Like that's an absurd like statistic.
Yeah.
That you've only had 2 dudes IGL a win in the entire sport. Like, granted, it's only been around for like 3 years competitively, but like that's a lot of time.
Yeah. No, yeah. It's it's impressive. It's impressive for both of those guys.
Quick question. You guys think somebody else wins champs, or you guys think that it's
I kind of want that to happen. I'd be okay with one of these two winning. I think it's a win-win either way. I think somebody winning champs would be tight that isn't these two, because then I don't think it necessarily would. Obviously, the GOAT debate's not there, but I think it would be good for the esport. Low key is if somebody else also won. But I also am okay with the esport. I'd be okay with the esport. Or I think it would send the esport in the right direction still if TSM or DZ won, because then the GOAT debate would just continue on. So
Don't ask me to predict anything, dude. Just don't.
Yeah, maybe not Wyatt, but I do think
Don't.
I would like for there to be another team that wins. Yes,
I think it'd be fun.
Yeah. What about you, E?
Yeah.
You guys agree?
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely I'm hoping a different team wins, but I think it's more than likely that one of those two will. Dude, it's absurd. And yeah, you got it.
No, I was just gonna say, if another team wins, I want it to be a team that I feel like is in the discussion of somebody that you could say could rival these two guys. Because if it's like, no disrespect, but if it's like a random team, like let's just say, I don't know, like 100 Thieves, right? Well, actually, no, they've won. They technically,
let's say LG.
You're actually just shooting shots.
LG.
Yeah.
LG.
Let's say LG, right? So let's just say they were to win one. In my mind, I'm thinking like that's really cool that they won one and they probably deservedly won. But I would also be like, well, I don't see that team, unless they were to continue their success, being like one of those teams that I see rivaling TSM or DZ. Teams that I think would be in that category would be like an XSET, an NRG if they were able to come together. Maybe even on the outside, like very close. Maybe like a FaZe with how they performed this weekend. Like I would want it to be a team that has kind of always been there for a while. Alliance, another one, like Alliance. Like if any of those, if another team wins, I want it to be one of those few teams that you look at and you say they're not S tier, but they're right there. They're A tier, and they just need that one win. I'd want it to be there so we could expand this discussion even more and have like, factions start to rise up rather than just having TSM be like, is TSM playing every 5 seconds in the chat? So that's what I would like to see. I like if XSET Alliance or NRG win, I'd be really, really happy. If it was like a random team, once again, no disrespect, I'd be like, oh, that's cool, but how long have they been doing this?
Yeah.
Ben, are we gonna let him get away with describing FaZe as a team that's been around for a while? And
Dude, come on, bro.
That time, are we gonna let
Phony,
him slide?
bro. Phony FaZe.
Yeah, but Phony's.
Up.
I mean, Phony's been around, but that doesn't mean he's been
around.
Like
he hasn't,
making
dude,
high.
That man went. He's a grinder story. That man went through the trenches. He was playing Loba, Gibby, Crypto at one point.
Yeah,
and then he worked his way up to the point where he's at now. But like, this is a team that's
bro.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, not lane.
You got to give me some credit. Okay,
no, land results. That's what I'm saying.
That's a random team that would win.
Yeah,
I would 100% list them as a way more random team to win than. I mean, bro.
Okay, hold on. Their entire group split, they were crazy good.
As NRG.
Dude, their whole group split. I think their worst day they had was like 13th.
But you said longevity, though. You said longevity.
You said consistently been playing well for a long time.
Okay, maybe my
is
wording
valid.
Exit phase, like there's just one of these.
Valid.
I said maybe phase. I said like I'm kind of thinking maybe like they're right there. Like
Moist.
They had a great entire second split.
Yeah,
and then everybody was like, "Oh, they're kind of playing bad," and then they came in and they just destroyed it. Like they had a great. We
can't get into that. But I think that was a faded take. You just say that they've been doing
I don't
it a
think
long
it's
time.
that crazy. I don't think it's that crazy.
It's been a year.
No, it's not crazy that they could win. It's crazy to list them as a team that's been around for a while, having a lot of success. NRG exit phase, like.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I feel like their entire group split, I was very impressed with them, and then like seeing them come in, they placed 5th. Like that's pretty decent in like 1 year.
That's been 6 months though.
Nobody's saying that they haven't been playing well and that they didn't have a great 6 months. We're just simply saying they've only had a great 6 months. They haven't had a great 2 years.
I mean, think
All
about
right,
it.
I'll be the
Exit was-
first one in. I'll be the first one in the fan club. I'll just have to do it. I'll have to. Maybe I'm just the way too early guy. You know, I'll be the scout that drafted Tom Brady in the 6th round. That's what that'll be me.
I just think there's a
That'd be me with
difference
FaZe.
between, Exet, who was basically a team
No,
now
I
for
got
2.5
you.
years, almost 3 years, doing really well at LAN, and then FaZe,
Nah,
who
yeah.
had one good split. Because let's remember, their first split was Alb, Snipe, and Slurp, and then now the second split has just been Frex, Phony, and Snipe.
Would it be better if I said a team like Moist? Would that be
Yes.
more fair?
Yeah, I would
that
say
be
that
like
that's
a better.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll switch out FaZe from Moist.
Ooh, but
that's more valid than the FaZe one.
that's more valid. But if you go back, like Moist's first LAN, I think they finished like 18th on the Winners' Day, and the reason
That was champs.
and he even what?
Their first LAN was champs, I think.
Yeah, and they didn't place like too crazy well.
I think they got like 16th
But
or
the
something.
main reason that they got signed was because of the Burger Brigade.
Right.
And so, like, don't get me wrong, like they've been teed up, locked in, and popping off, and like they're definitely, I would say, in my opinion, when I think about APAC South, they're the only team that I could list from the region. Like, no hate on APAC. Oh, Onic, them too.
There you
That
go.
boy
There
Fussy.
you
He
go.
didn't even.
There we go. I got 2 on the board. But yeah, I don't know if I would put them as like in the same conversation as Energy and Xset.
I think
Yeah.
that's super
So
valid.
when I first brought up FaZe, it was more of like an outside like potential. They could potentially slide in there if they continue the success. Same with Moist. Be like
I
if they
respect
continue
the
success.
defense.
Yeah. I have to defend. No, Alliance.
No, you
if I
got
would have
some
seen the
defending
Alliance
later
logo
on,
pop up-
Wyatt. You got some defending
Yeah,
later
no,
on.
I got some. I'm not defending myself at all later on when it comes to the predictions. I'm going to shit on all the teams in my predictions, respectfully, of course. But yeah, so okay, so getting back to Dark Zero, that was a long tangent on Dark Zero, but they just looked like they were in control the entire day. They looked like they were playing well from the start. There was really just, I mean, their games, they had a 2nd place and 2 firsts. They were just consistently kind of cruising. They did have some tough like finishes in the later rounds when people were starting to get on match point, but it just felt like when push came to shove, when you saw them nearing the end in that final game, you just had a feeling. I was trying to jinx it so it could keep going. I was tweeting out like congrats Dark Zero before the game was over to hopefully jinx it so we could get more ALGS action, but it didn't work. They said thank you for the congratulations, and they took it. So congrats to Dark Zero. They are the winners. Congrats to them. Boys, before we get into the rest of it, I say we kind of go through, and we don't have to go through too much on groups and like the losers and winners brackets, but I do think there were some surprises throughout there that we should probably talk about. And probably the first one here is Furia. Furia obviously doesn't make it to Sunday. They were 2nd on my predictions list. They just they did not have the best of days. They also, they had some griefing going on their sides, but Furia didn't have their best day.
Which we got to talk about that if we're going to talk. We got to touch on it because that is a legendary type.
It was wild.
Type hatred towards the team, type grief.
Yeah. So Furia doesn't make it Sunday. Another team was Vexed, who, obviously we talked a lot about Vexed last week on the show, but they didn't make it as well. Those were the 2 surprise teams who were kind of like on the outside looking in, not making it to Sunday. What did you guys have on Furia?
I was gonna say this, dude. Zeph was definitely the worst, like down bad. Whenever he said like I'm the biggest Vexed fan ever, and then just to see them absolutely fail so hard, and it's unfortunate, really. But no, I think the Fury thing. There's a little bit of, I don't know. There was a lot of third partying going on. I think there's a validity to that. Like, I think a lot of their fights were just getting third partied off of, and not having enough information to know if you're gonna get third partied. And a lot of those were actually getting stalled out pretty hard. And even I'm trying to think specifically one of the fights. They got third party like while also just straight fighting. Like there was no even finish of the fight. It was still actually just people shooting from so long range, actually griefing games. But is that really an excuse for them? I don't think that they really viewed it as an excuse. Like, or at least based off of everything, they did take responsibility of knowing, like, okay, we didn't play bad, we didn't play our best, and we'll get into that later as to maybe some of the reasoning behind it. But I I was pretty disappointed. I think most of the people that, so, I mean, a lot of people were putting Furia as like a dark horse too, because I mean, this like they had kind of, they're one of the few teams that have like proven that they can do well on land, and so I think because of that, people were more apt to, give their prediction, like they get more leeway picking a Furia, but seeing them not make it to Sunday was pretty wild.
Did you want to go off on that, Enoch, or not? You're muted right now.
The fact that they didn't make it to Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So clearly, Fury hasn't been playing the best, or didn't have their best tournament. And I think that when you see Watson making the decision to step down, stating the main reason that he wasn't happy, he wasn't passionate, when you're competing at such a high level against the best players in the world, if you're not passionate, not happy about what you're doing when you're there, it's just, you're not going to have the outcome that the teams that are showing up, giving everything they have, locked in, focused, enjoying themselves, having a good time, taking in the moment. And so if you can't show up mentally with the mindset to be able to capitalize and just give it your all, you're going to get smoked by other people that will. And so this is a team that had all of the talent in the world, but if you can't be happy and with what you're doing, you're just going to get lapped by people who are.
Yeah, so Furia doesn't have their day. They obviously don't make it to Sunday, and we wish his Watson the best in his content, because it seems like he's going to be a lot happier in his content. And yeah, we'll talk about it more after the interview. But so Furia obviously doesn't make it. Some other surprise teams that were in losers bracket round 2, which means if they didn't make it top 10, they were going to be eliminated. Xset was one of the surprise teams. They just did not have the greatest groups. They were struggling a little bit. It seemed like they couldn't really find their mojo, but then in losers bracket round 2, they finally came around. They were feeling themselves. They started to finally have some good games, pop off games. Xset was in there. 100 Thieves was in there. Optic, FaZe. But yeah, so those were some of the other teams that were in the losers bracket round 2. Luckily, all those teams were able to make it. Fire Beavers as well. Fire Beavers was in that as well. So all of those teams in losers bracket round 2, sometimes it just takes you a little while to find your game. But that's what happened. And then it rounded out with our finals. And then to get to the finals,
Wait,
obviously
hold
we
on,
talked.
hold. We can't not talk about it. The only other North American team that didn't make it, besides Furia, as Enoch says, Complexity. Complexity didn't make it to Sunday. Or what? Yeah, didn't make it to Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Mom was also sick a little bit, so I'll give that a little bit of a pass.
I was gonna say, I don't know if I was dreaming this, but I'm almost positive I saw Monsoon with tampons up his nose while he was playing. I'm almost positive that there was something hanging from his nose.
I think that was a picture.
Yeah,
I don't
no. It was no. I was watching like their stream, like the little thing. I'm pretty sure he was playing with the tampons up his nose.
That's insane.
So I mean, if there's any excuse for you to say, yeah, we didn't make it to Sunday, it'd be like, dude, I had to shove tampons up my nose. Like, that's how sick I was. Easy excuse. I love
Super
it.
Easy.
Cash that all day.
Another surprise.
Yes,
I was going to say this, but right before we get to finals, I know you want to get to finals, Wyatt, real quick. A little surprise on J-Lings not making it. Also, E6. That was the first time that I believe Xynew has been to a LAN and not made finals. So that was his first time ever. So I think that's one of the reasons why they made the change pretty quickly. And then Northeption, who looked really solid last LAN. We talked about this as one of the storylines going in. They didn't look too bad either in pool play, like the group stages, and then whenever they got into bracket stage, they flopped. They flopped in losers bracket round 2, in which I was a little bit surprised. Kind of another monkey on their back type of situation, similar to Crazy Raccoon, where they can't make a finals. So they may do really good in group play, but then I don't know what it is about bracket play in APAC North teams besides Fnatic and what is it? I guess Riddle, you could argue, did really well, and then Gombare. Like those are the top 3 teams in APAC North that were actually pretty solid. But I'm just surprised to see Northampton not make it to a Sunday. But okay, we can get into winners or the champs.
Yeah, let's get into champs real quick. Finals day, Sunday. Obviously, we talked about it. Dark Zero was your winner. They had 91 points. Second place was TSM. Third was Oxygen, which we need to talk about. Fourth was Xset. And fifth was FaZe. And so that rounded out our top 5 here. Lots of other teams sprinkled throughout. Obviously, Moist, they were APAC South. They were 7th. Optic Gaming at 8th. Alliance, a lot of people saw something in Alliance. They ended up getting 9th. NRG with the 11th. And LG Chivas was sitting at 12th. And so there was a lot of teams sprinkled throughout here. There was one team at the very, very bottom who didn't get a single kill. Their name was Ascend. And to any loser, any idiot who predicted them to be first in this tournament, for them not to get a single kill, they should get roasted and flamed. And that will happen later on in the show. So yeah, Ascend didn't get a single kill. What the fuck? Anyway, boys, finals. Let's go through finals day. Let's go through Sunday real quick. Just your thoughts overall. I thought it was a very competitive series throughout, although I thought it was going to end way too early when TSM got the 15 kill, like first place to rip it off. I was like, fuck, this is going to end in like 4 games and I'm going to be so sad. But it didn't. We found a way to continue it, and overall, just a lot of good games. Should I run through the people who won each game real quick, like I normally do in groups? Yeah, okay. TSM won game 1. Then in game 2, we had FC Destroy with the second win. Game 3 was Dark Zero. Game 4 was KCP. Game 5 was Fnatic. Game 6 was FaZe, and the final game obviously went to Dark Zero. Boys, thoughts? Overall, anything that stood out to you, any team, any player, any instance, any scenario that you want to talk about from finals?
Okay, also forgot to mention Pulverex was also super good, and so was FC Destroy. So I need to apologize and say APAC North was actually showing out pretty well. They did a really good job of actually making it to Sunday. So that's
dude,
what I was
APAC North was frying in group stages. Like they had people talking about like NA fell off, APAC North's the new best region, and then boom. 5 out of 5 top 5 NA.
Yeah.
And 9 out of 11 from the region. But like APAC North, I would say it was one of their best showings.
A lot of fans in the crowd too. They had a ton of fans in the crowd for APAC North. So shout out them.
And Alliance. Okay. So there's a lot. There's a lot with a lot of these teams that are in finals. And I think we could break down quite a bit. Depends on how much you're wanting to do. But off the top of my head, I'll do this. Embarrassing Ascend. Are you serious? Like that's insane.
So I hope they get dead last in every tournament for the rest of the time. The fact, you know what makes this worse is I thought I put Alliance as my number 1. I thought I put Alliance, and then I opened this up and I put Ascend, and they couldn't even muster me one measly little kill. You couldn't get me 1 kill, Ascend. You couldn't give me 1 kill to make me not look like a giant buffoon on this podcast that I come to every day. And I'm going to have to live with this forever. This is arguably worse than when Finn said NRG wasn't going to make it to Sunday, because not only did I say this team was going to make it to Sunday, I said they were going to win. They get dead last, and they don't even muster up a kill. I was disgusted. Yeah. I was tweeting up a storm. I was pissed. I was so mad, dude. I hate Ascend with all of my heart, although if they want to come on the podcast, I would say I would revoke my hate.
Just for a reference, for those
what do you think went wrong?
to know, DZ finished with 91 points, and Ascend had finished with 4.
Dude, I was so Finn. When I tell you, I was so mad. I was tweeting. I think I put like, you know how whenever like a player does really really bad, they'll put in the replies. They'll be like, Russell Westbrook exploded tonight. 2 points, fire emoji, no rebounds, 100 emoji, and it'll just say 6 turnovers, like all the devil horns or whatever. I was doing that, but with Ascend, when I was like, oh my god, Ascend just went from 2 points to 4. Let's go, dude. Ascend, I hate Ascend. You know what's worse about Ascend, dude? They're going to champs. I saw them going to champs, and I was like, what the fuck is this? They should immediately be revoked. You can't go to champs if you don't score at least 10 points or don't even register a single kill.
They came in second last LAN.
They didn't get a kill, Enoch. Not a single kill.
They had a rough day. You know, we talk about the slingshot around these parts. That team is primed. That team, I mean, I know that you're gonna want to put them in the bottom of your list every time. I'm just saying, watching. Ascend could be that team to just. I mean, they pulled it back, and then, bro, they're about to be just soaring forward.
No, not a kill. Their confidence is in the dumps right now, as it should be, because they didn't even get one. I'm sick to my stomach.
Oh, dude, it's funny. Okay.
I could have got 1 kill. I could have thirsted somebody.
No.
I could have got one thirst.
You have to knock. They changed that. You can't pull up on a 3P and thirst after the team's wipe. You actually have to. No, not in that lobby.
Dude,
no,
I think
don't be disrespecting.
I could get one knock.
You'd have to do it with the charge rifle from so far away.
What if I just got the knock?
He's not charge rifling anybody.
What if I just
saw Jim Burton doing it?
No full kill, but I got the knock. Could I do that?
Jim Burton, Wyatt. Like what?
Yeah, they're about the same. I mean,
people have put us in the same conversations before.
I also haven't seen Wyatt and Jim Burton in the same room before either, so they could be the same person. All right. To continue on with my thoughts, my first thoughts, Gombre, phenomenal tournament. I'm a little surprised to see them get 15th in this tournament. I will say this: LG and Alliance had. Okay, let's first talk about Alliance. Effect. In my opinion, proved that he is a top 5 roller player in the whole entire world with his showing what he did on LAN. It was impressive stuff. I think I played ranked the next day. I think I saw every single person running Horizon with a Prowler, Enoch. I think Prowler is actually the move. I'm going to take back everything that I said to you, E, about R9 being better. And I'm going to go hard, like apology and say Prowler is insane. And that might just be a LAN diff, but I will say this: Alliance looked unbelievable during group play, like group stages. I thought they were primed to win the whole thing, and then them only getting 9th place, a bit surprised. I do think Effect had the most confidence out of any roller player. I mean, he was having naughty confidence, bro. Like he was having stay naughty confidence in everything, and just kind of overextending, in my opinion. I think that there was some chows that actually ended up costing them during this finals, but a little surprised to see them 9th, but one of the most impressive showings that I've seen in a group stage ever. And then the same thing with LG. I will say with LG, they did get a lot of favorable zones whenever I was watching them play. And so I'm not trying to take away that LG didn't earn those, but I think there were a lot of zones that favored LG, which in turn made LG kind of look potentially better than what they should have placed.
Okay, so I had one thought on LG Chivas, and it was, I don't know, like you guys can flame me for this. Is there a better team just straight up 3v3? Like no outside factors at just fighting? Like this team, when it comes to just 3v3 fights, sometimes they just dismantle teams so quickly, and you're just like, how the hell did that fight end that fast in like a professional lobby? Like they, especially in the groups, LG was going crazy in groups. It was wild. They were just They did have some favorable zones, and I think 2 of their wins came off the exact same zone. But LG, man, when they fight, and we've talked about this before, like they are one of those teams where they can either have a fantastic day where they get like a million kills, or they could just completely fall off a cliff and get like 19th or 20th. But they had a great groups and they made it to Sunday. They didn't have their best, showing there, but they did get 12th. And so I don't know. LG, very surprised. Like before I wasn't necessarily a believer. Now, like I can see why they are so highly touted. Like they are very good at just team fighting. Like they're just as a unit, they are very good at team fighting.
I think the only argument that I would say team fighting wise, just straight across the board, I would say Oxygen. But I think that's really the only other team that I'm in my head that I instantly think, oh yeah, this team is maybe a better fighting team, just straight 3v3 across the board.
And we should talk about Oxygen because they placed third in this tournament. This was a team that they have stuck together for the long haul. They had a great day, pretty much all the way through. And they were a team that was getting highlighted a lot of times throughout the broadcast because of how long they've, been kind of doing this. Oxygen, I mean, you're looking at, this is their first like LAN together. They could be a team that potentially, outlast some of these other teams, and we could see moving into another echelon because of just their ability. But man, like they had a very good showing. Shout out SWL, analyst for the team. But Oxygen, I mean, they looked great.
Yeah, I think, dude, this goes all the way back to whenever Sentinels was almost going to take Aiden and have him like co-IGL for them. This is a long time ago, like the old Sentinels roster. And then he decided that, like, I think Sentinels was the one, they were like, okay, we're going to get out of Apex until they got a different team. They ended up joining back with like the old guard roster. But this goes all the way back to then whenever this team started teaming. And then Aiden decides to play with them. Aiden, Reeds, and Vayne, and then they've stuck together. They've fought all the way through Pro League. That being said, we did not necessarily highlight them all the time. They were like one of those teams where they would either get second place or they'd get like 15th place. There was no in between for this team. Their consistency was up and down, but this team on LAN was pretty dang consistent. Through the group stage, did really well. Through the like winners like the bracket play did pretty well. Like they were winning games, they were winning fights that we were like, okay, they just took out a really strong team. This team is pretty legit, and we knew they had firepower. I think me and E talked about it. This team has, I mean, if you're, I think Aiden was number one in arenas for a long time. Reeds was like number two. Like you have to be really good at fighting in order to even do that. I mean, there's so many cheaters that were in arenas at the time. Anyway, okay, that's a long story short to say Vayne is also that glue, I think, in this opinion, on this team. Vayne has that experience, has been doing so well with the IGLing. Dude, I saw some rotates. I saw the fattest rotate ever from the top. It was top command center, and they went to in between Wall and in between Cascade Falls. There's like that little compound. I saw them hit so I think they killed Alliance, and then they hit a fat rotate, and then that was the game they won. That was one of the games that they won. Not in winners. That was in the winners final like bracket thing, and that was just like something that I don't think that team is making that decision 2 months ago, 3 months ago. And
no, I mean, I think the diff is Psycho. Their coach, they're like the way that team plays the game now compared to the way that they played the game when they were just BR demons is night and day. The whole LAN, they were in the best spot. Every time I would watch and I'd see them, I'd be like, wow, they're just in the best spot. Like like obviously they had the barometer game where they were able to just sit up top and just rain down. I don't even know how they had as much ammo as they did because they were literally just ripping it from the top of barometer the entire game. But it didn't matter where the place was. They managed to get themselves into the spot they needed to win. And I think that a big difference is Psycho and his impact that he's had as a coach, giving them those macro strategies, reinforcing like, okay, like we see this zone, we know where we need to be like going. it seemed like they always knew where it was going to be pulling. And yeah, I think that all three of those players have improved phenomenally as we've seen them progress into now this version of Oxygen that we have today. But I think the biggest difference maker was that boy Psycho and the work that he does behind the scenes to get them ready to show up and be able to pop off in the way they do. Because like they're a team that is like, as Wyatt was saying, like he was saying that LG is like, is there a team that's better at 3v3ing? If there was, it'd probably be Oxygen. Like you do not want to fight them in a 3v3. And when you have a team that you don't want to fight with in a 3v3, and you combine that with a coach who can put systems in place for those players to put themselves in the right spot, and you get a top 3 LAN finish for your first time. Like this team is only going to get better and better.
Yeah, they're pretty scary good. Also, Psycho was rocking that green suit, dude. That green jacket, sports jacket. I was like, dang, dude, that guy looking spiffy. So that's a good shouty. Okay.
Yeah, there is
Okay.
What were you gonna say?
No. You go, Wyatt.
I was just gonna say there was a ton of I want to get to this on a later episode. I got this shouted out to me by a listener, and they were saying you should do like best dressed awards, because I tweeted something like this guy's flow is sick, and like just watching the crowd and watching the people on stage. I think next week I'm gonna watch over groups. I'm gonna go watch over all of the different winners and losers brackets and finals. I'm going to come up with a comprehensive list of awards that I want to give out. And some of those, like I already have one for best driver, because there was a sick moment. There's a Tokyo Drift moment that we had on finals day that I want to get to. I want to hand out all these awards, and one of them is best dressed. Like speaking of his suit, there was some players out there who had some style, and I want to get to it. But yeah, that was just like a little side tangent for like a future episode for this LAN.
I kind of want to get to that TSM game where it was on game or on match point. They had perfect zone. NRG did not get ring console, which is another gripe that we can talk about. But TSM takes replicator building in not countdown staging, excuse me, in staging, and TSM is in the best spot. They have height. It's what, top 4 situation. Scurry's it's a solo Scurry, and then you got all of FaZe, and then you got all of Exit, and then TSM playing up on the bridge. And I thought that was the tournament. I don't know why. Did you think that was the tournament as well?
I thought it was done.
Yeah.
I was tweeting out so many jinxes. I was trying my best to make sure that didn't end right there. And Scurry had, like, my jinx must have reached him. And he was like, hell yeah, because the play that he made, if you guys haven't seen it, good friend of the program, Jayhawk, tweeted it out. It's there. We'll retweet it on the main. All right, we might have already done it.
Yep.
But we'll retweet it on the main so you can see it. But essentially, Scurry is by himself. Down below, he's got FaZe. He, like, his team's already dead. He knows he's not going to win this match. TSM is up top. And apparently, through like some DMs, Scurry knew that it was TSM up top because he could tell by the skins. And so when the circle started to close in, he's playing Horizon. He runs in towards FaZe, throws down the Horizon queue so that they can elevate up to where TSM was and finish it off. Unknowingly, I don't think he knew that Exet had already done the same thing on the other side. So they had already been fighting TSM, and I think they were the ones who got that team wipe. And then FaZe went up there and finished it off. But I mean, just a crazy play from a player who's just like, all right, I'm not going to win this game, but at the very least, I can give my team another chance to try and get into the position. And just these are the types of plays that Apex can produce that some games just can't. Like that big brain, high IQ, like that shit was crazy. It was an awesome play. All around, just bravo. Like that was crazy. It was just so cool.
Not only did they have the skin knowledge, right, to know that there was a team on hype, but 100 Thieves actually got wiped by TSM, and so they knew that, yeah, like for sure, like, okay, like they're on height. He knew that, like, okay, I need to keep this going. He didn't know which team was going to win, whether it was Xset or TSM, but he did know that if he could get those FaZe boys up there, that they were going to be the ones who were going to be like going out on top. And it's just the absolute, just like as White said, it's a play that you really only will see in Apex, because like what other game are you going to have a ability that is being used to quite literally team with another team and then grief the team on match point? Like that is just, it was such a great moment in Apex because everybody was there like, oh, TSM's gonna win, oh my gosh. And then you have Xynew, and then you're like, oh my, like how is FaZe queuing up here? Like what is that? Like they don't even run Horizon. Like it was just, they were just there. And it's just another storyline, another thing that gets people talking. And that boy Scurry, he deserves all the recognition in the world for the heads up, let the show go on moment.
I think we have to talk about it, but the NRG 11th place. Is it on me? Is it at this point, is NRG not winning on me?
No, dude. I think, I don't know. Like I told you guys, I brought it up a long time ago, and like I said, if you don't place well in the second split LAN, do you consider maybe trying something new? And it was like, no, who are you going to replace it with? And I agree, like Guild, I mean, you can't really get rid of Guild, and Nathan and Sweet have been together for this long, but it's like, I don't know, like, what do you do? What do you do?
I think I saw Sweet saying that they actually are now going to be practicing and like actually scrimming. This is what he said, right? As of this current moment, that they are going to be doing like double blocked scrims for World, like for champs. So if that's the case, that's very good for them. Also, I was told that they may also potentially be changing POIs, because for those that don't know, Staging got a nerf to their ring console. And for those that, I mean, ring console gives you the next ring. You can therefore know where the next ring, you can predict ring off of that. But it got reduced from like a 98% rate to like a 48% rate. So you're getting the ring console about half of your games. Therefore, that's half of your games you're not going to be able to like figure out where ring is. So they might be changing it to a POI that has a higher consistency rate for the ring console. And then I think that they should personally get Guild off Horizon and instead put Nathan back on it. And then I don't know. I think we put Guild on Cat. That's what I'm saying. I think you put Sweet on Seer. I think you put Nathan back on Horizon, and then I think you put Guild on Cat. I think that's another thing that they need to do. All those things may be a winning formula, and that's what I'm going to keep an eye on whenever it comes into these scrims. But that's something, as well as the Moist Boys. Dude, I think the Moist, they have a chance to actually win a LAN. I'm very excited, but I think they actually have a shot. And I think you could say maybe the same thing for KCP. I don't think KCP is quite there yet. I think they're both in the same like category, that they're close, but I don't know if they can quite win one just yet. Just to hit a few more, OG, Optic. I mean, them making a comeback all the way to get to like an 8th place is pretty impressive for their first split together. I think that was really solid.
Especially given the fact of the absolute outrageous PC crash to no, like they paused the first game, right?
Yes, they
That's
did.
true.
Yeah, yep.
They paused the first game.
Yep.
For what?
I think it was for Command Center.
What?
Command Center audio or something. I think it was Command Center audio.
And they didn't end the match, they just paused it.
Yeah, which I didn't even know that was a thing, by the way. Did you?
I didn't know that was a thing either. But if you can pause a match, how do you not pause the match when you have a guy playing at LAN and it's not even his PC that's like broken? Like, not broken. It's not even his PC that's broken. It's Apex's PC that's broken, and they don't pause it.
Yeah, I think that's a little faded. I'll be honest. Yeah, I agree.
For Optic Gaming, we're talking about one of the most well-known esports organizations in the world. And those are the guys that we're going to screw over by not, at least, don't show the fact that you can pause the game
early
and then
don't
not pause the game in a moment where you need to pause the game. If there was ever a time where you would need to pause a game, I mean, I feel like that's a textbook example.
Yeah.
Of when you would pause the game in a LAN.
Yeah. It pretty much.
And
gave
the fact
DZ...
that they let that go, it completely changes how that game goes. And because they were in a great spot, they had the opportunity to fight DZ in a 3v3. Optic has more than a good enough chance to win that fight, but they don't even get the chance because homie's just stuck there.
And then DZ wins that game.
I feel like they handled it. Yeah, and DZ wins the game. And so I feel like they handled it remarkably well. And the fact that they were able to get 8th place, even with the rough journey that they had to get there, and then something as tilting as that can happen, I think it's very respectable. And I think that Optic is definitely a team that we should be looking out for champs.
Yep.
Yeah, the other thing about Optic too, they only had one game where they didn't place top 10. They had a 9th, a 5th, an 8th, a 14th, then a 2nd, a 5th, and a 2nd. The only thing stopping them from reaching top 5 was just KP. There was a lot of games where they just didn't have a whole lot of KP. But if they have one of those pop-off games, you could be talking about them being in top 5, despite the fact that they had one of their games chalked, and they were just kind of hovering there the whole time. They were always there, except for one game. So they get a little bit more KP. You could be looking at them in a much different light, and I think we should look at them in a much different light, because before this split had started, we were looking at them as the disappointment. We were looking at them as the team that didn't show up. And now they showed you that they could show up. And in spite of all of the bullshit that happened to them, they still had a great performance. And if you just look at the stat sheet, you'll never really know that they actually had a legit chance to break the top 5 without that tragedy happening to them. So congrats to Optic Gaming, to be honest with you. There was a lot of people saying, if that happens to me, I'm smashing my fist through the PC. And I can't even imagine what they're going through in that moment, being like, dude, we're in a good spot. And one of our guys just straight up can't move. It's in the biggest, not the biggest tournament, but one of the biggest tournaments of the year. That's got to be so. And not only that, but it's Sunday, so you just worked your ass off to get there. It's not like the first day. You just worked this whole weekend, and that happens. Very frustrating. Very frustrating.
I gotta give
and
a
I
shout
think
out.
that. Oh,
go White. No, White. No, mine's different. You go.
And I think that kind of gives a shout out to the rest of the to the rest of the stream and the rest of the tournament. Structurally, there was definitely some missteps and some things kind of missing that let's hope that for champs they fix. I did see a lot of criticism of the casters and stuff, and I don't know why. I don't understand that part of it. I always thought the casters were very decent, very good, and I didn't really notice anything. It was more, there was a lot of complaints about when they would decide to zoom out and look at everybody versus when they would zoom in and look at the fighting. That's just hard to pinpoint sometimes with this type of game. And I understand that it's their job and that's what they're supposed to be good at and trying to figure out those moments, but they're going to have a misstep every once in a while with how random Apex is. So I wouldn't consider crush them on that. It's just more the command center thing was frustrating. It wasn't working for a while, and there was a lot of pauses and different stuff like that. Games if we can, clean that up.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. I think that's a fair criticism. Wholeheartedly, I think that is. Last thing for me, I got to give a shout out to Riddle. This team looked insane. It's kind of like the LG and Alliance scenario where this team looked insane, and they ended up getting 18th place. But I think that was a typical run out of them. And then the last point, NA on top, guys. Top. I mean, the only teams that were in match point format. Come on, I mean, on match point, all NA teams. I mean, come on, guys.
I'm never putting another EMEA team in my top 5 ever again. I'll never do that ever again. Only NA from now on. And maybe Moist. Maybe Moist. I'll put in there.
Not even gonna throw some love to any of the APAC North boys.
Actually, yeah, wait.
You
hold
got
on.
FC Destroy, you got Pulverex, you got Gombere, you got a
Dude, what is
You
the
got some
highest
options.
placing
Gombere, I
of
might
a,
do
of a-
Gombere.
dude Gombere.
Just because of that sick
that's
like
just a
Tokyo
crowd
Drift
favorite.
play. Yeah.
Bro, what? Like,
They have the one guy who does this whenever they win.
Yeah. Well, no. He does the.
Oh yeah. That guy's awesome. I should probably know his name. Let me look it up.
Roy.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't.
He's the best.
What is the highest placing from an APAC North team?
I don't know if they've
I don't
ever gotten
know.
top 5.
I don't-
Have they gotten top 5?
I don't. The only thing I could I think Fnatic got 6th or 7th maybe in the last LAN.
They've definitely gotten top 10s.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, Fnatic just got top 10 in this one, but I don't know. I don't know what it is, but what is it about? Okay, I think this is another discussion for another time. But what is it about North America that makes it the best region comparatively to others?
We're just those guys.
I know, but okay, is it practice? Is it like
ball.
more tournaments? Is it like actual skill level? Like, what is it?
I think we got more aim assist combined with disrespectful amount of confidence.
Yeah, that's fair too. Yeah, I agree.
I
with that.
think, and like I'm pretty sure Hotsick touched on it, or no, or at least Hotsick or PvP touched on it, that NA they have a very disrespectful playstyle. Like they
He
just
did. Yeah.
it's just disrespectful, and like when you have a team that is playing disrespectful and confident and has more than likely 2 roller players, you're gonna roll through a team who's playing and posturing with giving that team more respect. Because I've fought really good players and just waxed them, because when I was going into the situation, I was like, oh, it's just a bot team, I'm not thinking about it. But then there are times where I fought somebody, and because they're wearing a certain skin, I think that there's somebody else, and then I start playing it different because I'm like, oh, I'm playing against this guy. And you don't play with the same confidence, and then you find out like, oh, it wasn't even the guy you thought it was. It was just some different person who's not nearly as talented as the person you thought. But then because you thought it was that person and you gave them that much respect in your mind, you play differently and you don't dominate. Like NA, they're just disrespectful. Everybody's just got an ego, and everybody thinks that they're the best, and when they fight, they play like it. I mean, that's one of the only things I can think of is why you got 9 out of 11 from a region.
Yeah.
It's because every single one of those teams, they all knew that they were going to make it.
Yeah, sadly, no South America team.
No, didn't Blackhand? Blackhand was
APAC North.
South America.
Excuse me, that's APAC South. Excuse me, I meant South America. South America team.
I thought are they not South America?
No. Noctum was the number 1 like South America team. No, there was literally no South America team in the finals.
Well, I mean, that's pretty on par with
Right.
how
This
they
is.
typically
I mean, that
perform
is
now.
what our prediction was, which was South America is probably not going to make it. So I'm kind of sad about that,
But they will be merging with NA. I'm pretty sure that's a thing.
well, I don't know.
think
It's not official
announced.
yet, but
It's not officially announced, but it's like they've been leaks all over the place.
yeah, I've been seeing that too.
Yeah, which would be interesting, something we could talk about here in the future. But okay, boys, anything else before we round it out and send it on down to our interview with the champion himself, Xynew? Anything else? Or are we ready to talk to the man, the myth, the legend? We're all good? All right, ladies and gents, we're going to throw it on down to the brand new champion, Xynew from Dark Zero. And then after that, we're going to talk about our predictions. And I am not excited to talk about that. And then we will go through his Watson and his retirement and talk a little bit about Mandy coming back to play some pro Apex. So let's hit a quick ad and get it on down to Xynew. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, with the brand new fresh-faced champion from Dark Zero. We've got Xynew here on the pod, fresh off of a LAN win. Xynew, anything cool happened this weekend? Anything interesting? Anything fun that you can think of off the top of your head, maybe?
Other than winning LAN, there wasn't anything better than that.
Yeah, and wow, it was a great performance. It was a great time watching you guys. It was. We'll get to all that other stuff, but let's I want to start off with that final game, that final match, more specifically the final circle. It was insanity. There was so many things popping off, going everywhere, and somehow you guys managed to like slither your way through behind all of these different teams.
Yeah.
Can you just kind of walk through that final circle and what you were hearing, whether it be from comms and all that different type of stuff, and what your guys' focus was in that final moment right there?
So if you watch our VODs, you notice when we say chill, that's like we gotta like that's when we're like, relax guys, like chill out. Like that's our main comm to like we need to just sit here or something like that. And we said that like a million times in the end zone. We're like, chill in this corner. And like as soon as Genwin's wall went down, we were like ready for someone to drop on us, and no one dropped on our heads from like the team or the house above us. The only person that like really dropped on us was Vayne when he like evac'd on us. And we all were just like freaking out. Like as soon as Vayne landed on Jen, he was like, on me guys, on me. And we all just turned around, ran to him. And then Zero throws a Horizon Q. We all run to the queue, like all of us at the same time. And then we just end up third-partying Optics after they fighting Energy. It was crazy, man. That was the craziest end game. And I had to take a piss so bad. That end game, dude, I needed to go to the bathroom so bad. I was like distracted. Like, so you chug monsters, man. When you're on that stage, I had like 8 monsters a day. It was bad.
Is that an accurate number? 8?
Dude, it was a lot. And then we got Red Bulls on the last day too, and they're like, "You guys got to keep those under the desk."
I noticed that. I noticed Zero took a sip, and then he was like hiding it under the desk. I was
just hiding it. Yeah.
How long after that final, like you guys embrace, you guys have the moment. How long after the moment where you're like, all right, I got to go piss, like I got to go,
dude?
now.
Yeah, because you had
dude,
oh
my god, it was
stuff.
worse.
Yeah,
I went up to the guy and like, bro, I need to go to the bathroom. He's like, nah, bro, you can't. Yeah, we got to go do the trophy. And I was like, bro, no, man. And I was like, please, bro, I'll be quick. And he's like, nah, bro, nah. I had to go do the trophy.
So you had to tough it out the entire trophy celebration.
Yep.
Holy shit!
Yep.
So like, how long?
Did it ever get to a
like
point where you were
minutes?
like, oh?
Yeah, it was like 30 minutes.
Did it ever get to a point where you were like, oh, I might piss myself on live?
No. It was getting close, but I was good. I was good.
Now, dude, that's just another layer that just nobody.
People don't even realize how badly Xynew had to piss in that game.
Yeah.
In 50 years, people will be
Just
like, yeah, they won that LAN, but nobody knows how badly he had to piss.
The mental strength to add on, the pressure, the moment, all of the money on the line, and an absolute full bladder on top of it.
That's awesome, man.
Funny.
That is so cool. Well, I mean, other than the final game, that entire finals, that entire Sunday, it just seemed like you guys were, I mean, there was a few games here and there where it didn't go your guys' way, but I think you guys had 2 firsts and a second. Like, it just seemed like you guys were consistently just kind of cruising, in control, doing your thing. I mean, you came to this team a little late. Like, this was you were kind of like a last second addition. How did that whole process go down, and how did you guys be able to get to this point where you could gel so well as a group that, I mean, you're winning a LAN like instantly together?
Well, I think the main thing about finals and us doing so good is like, obviously they've already won multiple LANs. So when they get to those final lobbies, Zero and Jen are just very confident. And I wasn't nervous at all. I was just ready to fight everyone. So we just like popped off in all those fights and stuff. And then me and Zero are 2 for 2 for match point format. We've won both regionals and LANs. So I don't know. He's okay, just the GOAT of like match point. I don't know. I'm kind of he's just too good at it. I don't know. But I mean, we all just fit together really well. Like I fit with Zero in like fights. Well, Jen's kind of like, he's kind of an anchor now, and me and Zero just like play together. We like we'll like fight for spots, and then we'll like yell at Jen if he needs to come over. But we're overall just like play with each other now. And then if we need Jen, we'll just like yell at him to come over, and it's just worked out really well so far.
I was just gonna say, so going back to my original question, I kind of threw two at you right there. But going back to when you guys first came together as a team, how did that whole process play out? Because it was, they were trialing a bunch of different people, and then there was just a lot of weird stuff going on behind the scenes. Nobody really knew what was happening. All of a sudden, you're the signing. How did that whole process start from your perspective?
You mean like, how did they even ask me to
Basically,
like
from
Yeah.
join
when
the
you were
team?
on meat,
Uh,
meat lovers.
Yeah, the transition
Well,
from meat
Zero had
to
asked me for like VODs, and like me, obviously it doesn't mean anything. Like he's like looking for people in the first place, and I sent him my VODs, and I told Tech, I'm like, yo, Zero asked for my VODs, just letting you know. And then Tech was kind of weird about it. He was a little weird about it. He was telling people like I was joining Dark Zero, but like I don't know. And then we ended up trying with them because like it was like the last minute. Like they actually me and Funk trialed 3 games. So it was that last minute. Like we only got to play 3 games each, and then they ended up like looking at each of our VODs from all the shrimps and stuff, and then thank you. And then they based it off my Realm VODs actually. Cause I had played a lot of Realm and I had streamed it all, and I didn't really stream scrims at all, but they watched my VODs and Funk's VODs, and then they decided like throughout the games we played and like watching how I play and scrims and stuff, that I was just a better fit for the team at that time.
So when you first started playing with DZ, you were on the bang. In this last tournament,
Oh my god!
we got you in Seer prison.
So bad.
And so
Yes.
how did that switch up happen? And how are you taking being the Seer guy?
Yeah, that was the thing about when I joined the team, and I was on Bang, so I could like do whatever I wanted, and I would throw sometimes in the 7 a.m. scrims. I was just not a human because I'm West Coast, so when the international scrims were happening, it was 7 a.m. for me, so I'd get on and I'd just eat my brains out on Bang, and he'd be like, "Johnny, you gotta lock in, bro," and then he put me on Seer, and I was like, "Dude, I can't do this anymore," and then he's like, "Yeah, you're gonna have to play Seer LAN," and then I didn't mind it because before they buff Seer, I hated him. Like I did not want to play him. And then with this new like buff where you just stun people, it's not that bad. So I didn't mind playing him at LAN, but I don't know if you saw my tweet, but I'm gonna message you. I'm be like, man, I want to get off Seer, please, bro, please.
It's kind of like it like puts you in a cage a little bit. Not really. It like puts you on a leash in a way. Like you can't overextend. Maybe if you were on that horizon, like what Zero does. But I would love to get into maybe like group stage specifically for you guys. You guys were doing pretty well, but do you think that for the most part, like this is your first LAN? First off, congratulations, and you've now showcased and proven that you are the real deal. And I think a lot of people were looking at you, were looking at Effect and a few other roller players on like, okay, how are they going to perform at LAN? And you kind of showed out, obviously. But what would you say is the biggest surprise for you whenever you were like going to LAN and how different the game was?
I thought it'd be like way harder because at first I was only nervous the very first LAN game, and then we got like second, and I was like, this really isn't that hard because like people were like just running at everyone, and I was like, wow, the people were just they don't care. And after that first game, I was just like, it was just like NA Pro League. Like I didn't mind at all, and I honestly I don't like how people are like, what's the word? Like comparing me to Effect when I'm on Seer and he's on Horizon. Like it's completely different. Like if I was on like Bang or Horizon, maybe I would have like done the same shit he was doing. But I mean, I'm just like locked on Seer. I can't really be running around the map like he does.
Yeah.
And but other than that, I mean, like the lobbies aren't that different. I think they're really easy if you're confident. I think LAN's really easy. If you're confident in your teammates, you already know how you're playing and stuff like that. I think it's nothing different.
Is it nice walking into a team that has a insane dynamic between Jin and Zero, who have been playing together for so long, and then you just kind of like how was that dynamic? How was that transition of going from a team like with Tech to then now fitting into a team with, I mean, a squad that has already been proven, and then like how hard was that transition, I guess?
So with me and Funk, we worked really well together. And when I joined the team, it's like the same thing for me and Zero. Like I was saying, we're always together. We're always like like figuring out spots and where to go and stuff. And me and Funk were like really good at that. Like we were like me and him playing together, we would destroy anyone. That's why we were like really good with the crypto EMP. Like our dynamic was really good, and I feel like it's kind of the same with Zero. Like me and him work really well together.
Speaking of Zero, you guys together have won one land, but he's won three, and a debate started rearing its
Yep.
head. A lot of people out there saying, is he the GOAT now? I mean, obviously we've had Hal in here for a long time. You haven't played with Hal, and I'm not expecting you to answer the true debate, but for the side of just Zero himself, what separates him from the rest of the pack when it comes to IGLing? Like, what does he do differently? What are some of the things that stands out about his style that maybe other IGLs you have played with in the past just don't possess?
Well, I think the biggest, like, I think Hal and Zero are actually really like close to each other. Like, they're just very confident about everything they do. Like, they know their decision. Like, if they know it's right. Like, and if they did something wrong, they're gonna say they did it wrong. But like, it doesn't happen that often. Like, their decisions are always like really, really well. Like, it's with all their experience, and they're always ready to like fight for spots. And I think that's like some of the biggest things that IGLs aren't like good at. Is they're just like they'll rotate and like not fight someone instead of just fighting someone that would, and if they fought them, they would have done so much better than just like running and trying to get a way worse spot. And I think that Hal and Zero are really good at that. Like they're like on the spot thinking and like wanting to fight for spots is like the biggest thing.
And you kind of go from like a team where you're playing zone and it's a little bit slower to now, like you just said, you're fighting everything, you're going into everything. Was there a transitional period for you to try to like figure that out between Meat Lovers and then moving over to DZ, or was it something where it's like, I'm so used to just playing this way and wanting to play this way that it just kind of matched you and you were able to just kind of grasp it immediately?
I think the biggest thing was not having the crypto drone, the 50 damage. It's funny to say, but not having that 50 damage or everyone being stunned was a little different. But it wasn't that bad. I was pretty used to it because they kept me on the character I played, so it wasn't that bad at all.
All right, so obviously you just won a LAN and you're probably in the conversation for top 10 controller player, maybe top 5. And what would just I'm trying to figure out the best way to word it. Could you give us like a breakdown on your journey through gaming and like just from like starting out to where you're at now, to just give us the breakdown of like how you got to the skill level that you're at today?
Yeah, I started on console. I was a big like Call of Duty gamer. My mom never liked me playing Call of Duty when I was younger. She always hated that. And then I eventually played Fortnite when that was big. I was pretty good at it, but I started playing Apex when I was in season 8. I played that until on console until around I think season 12. Switched to PC, and then yeah, now I'm here. So it was somewhere around there. I don't remember what season I switched to PC, but I just grinded ranked when I switched to PC, and then got into comp.
Is there any sort of like regimen that you use to kind of like tune into your skills, do different stuff like that? Anything you use to train that may be different from others?
I used to a lot when I first switched to PC, and I was like getting into like playing ranked every day and stuff. But I mean, I do like some the best advice I can give you is just go like Verhol's training stuff. It's really good. It's like it'll help you with like a lot of stuff. But I don't do that much anymore unless it's like a pro league day or something. I'll go on the range for a little bit, but I just like queue up rank now, and I'm on a controller, so I mean, it's not that bad.
You're saying it's not hard to warm up on roller, is what you're saying.
No, it's not.
There's
hard
not
at
a whole
all,
lot
man.
of bad days on roller. Is
Yep.
okay, so you're 17 years old, dude. That's actually insane to think about. Is it nice? Like, when was like the first time you started hearing like, oh yeah, you're next up? Like, what was like that first moment? Maybe whenever you're stepping in competitive, maybe doing some scrims, some realm, like because your name was kind of being brought up right around like the time of you in your hardcore ranked like grind and session. So
Yeah.
how did that feel, like managing those expectations, and how did it feel just being whenever people were like, "Oh, dude, you're next up," or like you're the best roller player they've ever seen?
When I started getting known was like when Funk was number one. I would play with him and Retzi, and when everyone would say I was next up, I'd try to be humble, but I don't want to be like cocky, you know. Even though I won a LAN, I don't want to be like that guy to shove it in everyone's faces, you know. Like I'm not trying to be like that. Even when people would like hype me up, I'd like appreciate it, you know. Like even Enoch was like, "You're really good, man. We should like play a lot." And we haven't played ranked in a
It's
while.
been a
You know?
minute.
We gotta play soon.
We can
man.
run it.
I don't play it.
We can run it back,
just solo
dude. I
queue.
gotta you gotta run it with me and Freddie. He's
Freddie. Oh,
dude. He's
the
he
10-year-old?
he might be you in the range.
Next
He
up.
might be you in the range. I'm like, no joke.
Oh,
Nah,
I suck at the
he's-
range, so probably.
Dude, he's nasty. He's
Yeah?
actually
I'm
just
down, I'm
like
down, I'm
I
down.
would put him in like top 5 mechanical controller player type vibe.
I have like a month until scrim, so just let me know.
But
But,
we'll schedule some rank sessions.
yeah, I'm done.
You got you got a team for day one?
No,
you wanna
I
do
don't.
you, me,
I don't even know if
Freddie?
I'm gonna play. Honestly, I couldn't tell you. I don't know if I'm gonna play first day.
Okay,
I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
that'd be fun.
It better be a good rank system. We gotta hope.
Oh, it will be.
We
It will
gotta
be.
hope, man. You think so?
I mean, it can't be worse than it is right now, right? And then
Yeah,
even if it's
it
like
can't.
bad, it's like at the beginning of the season, like it's not that bad.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
well, at bare minimum, we
yeah.
got at least like 2 weeks of solid ranked coming up. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. But overall, I just try to stay like really humble about everything. I don't like being cocky. I think most people would agree
I
with that.
respect that, dude. I really do. Okay.
Yeah, I respect that
Something
a lot. That's
that-
cool.
Had to have give you some momentum, some confidence. Is this contest between you guys and Aurora?
Oh
So
my
could
God.
you give us a little bit of like maybe some behind the scenes, maybe not go into full strategy, but maybe like some behind the scenes on going into this Aurora contest / Twitter finger, dude. This was comedy, dude. It was straight comedy.
Well, they shouldn't be at champs. They shouldn't be at champs. So I can kind of like talk about it. I don't think they're gonna make it in LCQ. Hopefully not. Hopefully they don't challenge now. You know, we're the champions. Hopefully they respect it now. But over scrims we had like double the score to them. But they're like just wait until LAN. And the first day it was looking good for them. You know, they like 6-0'd like both contests, but they had switched up everything for that first day. They just copied our routine. The first day at LAN, like the same thing we had been doing for like the last week when we had like 9-0'd them. They just switched to it on that day at LAN. And then the next day, we okay. So it started on Sword Point. They won the first game, and this is like get them into losers. We're like, oh god, we need to land on them. So next game we landed on them, we killed them, and then we went straight back to Mill. And then on Royal Edge, I think we 2-1 them, and then they ended up just going losers. But I mean, it's all respect. It's all just like troll on Twitter, you know. Even in like the lounge of the players' hotel, we just like shook hands and like. We're like GG's guys, you know. It's all just like shit talk on Twitter. Like we know it's not like actual like personal, you know.
Just energizing the beef for entertainment purposes.
The content, yeah.
So would you include Zero? So like there was one time where you guys were sitting right next to them, and then you guys wiped and he got up. So can you get into that? What was he saying?
Well, he was just like, my POI. I mean, you got a little personal into it, but I never did, you know, like, it's all just like, it was funny. It was all content. How did you know about that? How did you know he's just stand up and turned around?
Fen told me.
Oh, okay.
And how did you see it? Was it like on broadcast or what happened?
It got brought. I think it was on main. I wasn't really watching it on main, but either that or I think maybe Wig was saying it. I don't know. Either way, it got brought up, and I was like, "Oh gosh." I mean, it's so funny that they were right next to y'all. That's why I thought it was like it's kind of comedy.
Yeah, they were right next to us on the main stage, and then in the back warm up areas, they were right behind us. So it was funny. We even contract them, and we just turned around. It was funny.
All right, so like Finn said earlier, this was your first LAN, and I think there's weird things about LAN that nobody will truly understand unless they play in it. But I got to assume with LAN, there was some things that changed for you as far as just the environment, the atmosphere. It had to be a little bit different. Was there anything that stood out to you as far as just the atmosphere and the environment going into that LAN?
The TSM fans are something, I'll tell you that. But once you get onto the stage, you looking like you're so locked in, you'll forget you're on the stage until you're like in a zone or in a safe spot, and you're just like looking around. Like I would like we'd just be playing the game, and then we'd get to the building, and we'd just be chilling. I'd like look up, and I was like, oh, I forgot I was fucking playing on a stage. And then I mean, it's pretty cool though. But other than like we won, as soon as we won, the fucking crowd was chanting TSM. Like, what is that, man? That was annoying to me, but you know, it's whatever. It's really cool to be on a stage like that when you're playing.
I always wondered this, and this might be a stupid question, but like, can you hear anything at all? Like, can you hear anything when you're in game? You hear the crowd even a little bit at all?
You can hear them a little bit. Like when we were on match point in that fourth game, and I like one clip snipe, I could hear them go like, "Oh, damn it!" Like you can hear them if they're really loud, but it's not like you can like hear them like doing like saying anything like exact. It's just like really loud yells, and it's not even like you can hear it that well.
Yeah, and that leads to my follow-up. When you guys won, was there like that moment where you just hear all the like the crowd chanting, that immediate like moment where you just hear all the roars or anything? Because everybody just rips their headphones off.
You just instant take your headset off. Yeah, you just instant take them off, and then you hear the crowd. Like it's literally instant. Like you won't hear anything after.
Yeah.
You just run to your teammates.
You just black out. Yeah. No, I got you. I got you. I've just always wondered that because it is such a different environment. I feel like it's just you're so used to playing at home, just chilling, and then all of a sudden you're sitting in the copper box. There's like colorful seats in front of you with all these different people, all these signs and stuff. It's got to be just surreal, and especially you got to travel for that. And at 17 years old, getting to travel, pretty badass. Pretty badass.
Yep, that is pretty cool.
Okay, I gotta know, dude. This is like one of my more pressing questions, and it's not even that serious at all. But do they ever say something in Australian and you're like, dude, what? Like in their Aussie accents or anything, like maybe catchphrases, and you're like, what does that even mean, bro?
Honestly, not really. Like their accent's not that strong, and there's some words that are like I didn't understand in the beginning. Like what is it? I don't remember. He says care instead of careful. Zero goes just he says care or some shit like that. And I'm like, what does that mean? And then I was like, oh, okay. Like he'll be like, just be careful of these guys. And I was like, what? And then I was like, oh, okay. I think that was the main one though. I was really confused about that.
Okay, so nothing too Aussie.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah, nothing too Aussie.
Have you started dropping the C word on the regular?
No.
You just ripping those casually yet?
Yeah, no.
Was like when the moment gets intense, is it hard sometimes, or is it like you said, their accent isn't too strong?
No, it's not that strong. Yeah. No, he's pretty understandable.
Yeah, I feel like he is. I feel like both of them are. You can kind of tell just whenever they're talking. Like it doesn't sound like it's like too crazy.
Yeah.
I always wondered that though, especially when you first switch over, like the first conversation. You're like, oh, okay, this is a little different.
I do have him on max volume in Discord though, because sometimes he's really quiet and I can't understand him from that. But other than that,
that's cool. That's really, really cool. So I wanted to go to another game here where things, I mean, flip of a coin, things could have been drastically different here. Could have been completely different. TSM, believe it was a game before or 2 games before. They are sitting there. It looks like they're going to win. They've got the high ground. Everything's going their way. Like it just looks like they're about to win this thing. They're already on match point. From your guys' perspective, like what are you doing in that moment? What, like, I don't know if you're even able to watch. You have to be able to watch, but like, what are you doing in that moment? Kind of watching that game unfold and then seeing XSET come up, rise above them, and then kind of put an end to their run right there.
We were watching XSET the whole time, and everyone in that lobby knew TSM was on height. So I think even if XSET didn't like kill TSM, Scurry, I don't know if you saw it, but Scurry threw phase Q.
Yeah, we talked about it. 100%. Yeah, that was legendary.
I think they would have been dead either way, and we honestly didn't mind if they won then, because we had such good games. We were like fine with the second, you know, like that's how good we were. Like that's how confident we were with our games. We were like, whatever, it's fine, we can end it here. But they ended up just killing them because everyone in that lobby knew TSM hadn't died, and they just like knew it was a team on height. I think it was pretty much impossible for them to win. Which is
weird because you guys were the only team that was left alive and people didn't focus out you guys for some reason for that last game.
It was really hard to tell because it was only us and Vayne, and Vayne had died and he was a solo. And with how congested the end game was, I think it's really hard to tell like which team is.
There was a
which.
lot
that's
going
fair.
on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
in that
there was
end
a
game,
lot
you
going
didn't
on.
have armor, right? Like you
No,
had
we didn't have
nothing.
any.
Like because I remember
We
looking, I
killed
was
one
like,
guy.
that man doesn't have shields.
We killed one guy and he had red armor, and he was like, "I'm gonna go swap that." And then there's a surprise note on it. And he turned straight back around. We all wanted to swap it so bad.
So, can we get a breakdown of your LAN experience as a whole? Because that's got to be quite the experience being 17 years old, traveling to London, like living there for like a decent amount of time, like days, and then you have the little bit of boot camp beforehand. What was that experience like overall as just a life experience?
I hate those international flights. It was really bad, but the boot camp was really fun. I was with Jen mainly the whole time. We went to like dinners and stuff, so we had a good time. And then I was actually like really good about my schedule. I would go to sleep at like a really good time, get enough sleep before the days. Honestly, it was actually like really cool experience. I never thought I'd like be going to London by myself at 17, for Apex or just video games in general. So I mean, it was just really cool.
And you speak about being by yourself. I mean, you're 17. You've got parents. Like I've always wondered this. Like when you brought this forward to your parents and you were just like, hey, like I'm gonna try to win something on a video game. Was there any sort of reservation from them? Were they throughout your career? Has there ever been a moment where they're like they're not really sure about it, or have they kind of supported you throughout this whole journey?
My mom's always been really supportful. That's not a word, but
Minus the Call
when
of
I
Duty
wanted to
part,
buy a
right?
PC, yeah, when I wanted to buy a PC, before I switched to PC, my brother's actually like the main reason she bought it. He's like, he's really good, like I think he'd do really good on PC. And then from there on out, it took me a while to like get where I am, but she was still like very supportive about it. And I mean, she's honestly like, she was watching the whole 4 days, when I was in London. So my grandma came down too. I mean, she's just the best, like, I don't know what else to say,
Was there a phone call right after made to mom being like, hey, I did it?
Oh my God. You don't know, bro. I called her and I was just bawling. It was actually so cute.
That's awesome. What was her response?
She's like, you did it. And then I was like, I got to call you back, Mom.
You're crying too much? Too much tears?
Dude, I was bawling, bro. I couldn't.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, dude. That's so cool.
Okay, so did you just graduate high school? Are you in high school right now?
No, I'm
You do
doing
online
online
school.
school. It's so easy.
Okay,
a senior
so
So you're finishing it out? Or are we? Yeah. Respectable.
so what do you? I was gonna say you're on vacation right now, or you're in summer. What would be summer of school, traditional school? Do you have anything fun do you get to do, or besides game? Like, well,
For
like
school?
I mean,
Or just,
outside of
like-
school and gaming, like what else do you like to do? Since you're 17 years old.
I look, he got hooked on to the gym with Jen, so I think I'm gonna start going to the gym.
That'd be
That'll be
great.
fun.
Yeah, we're both on our gym arc.
It's so hot too. It's so hard to like do anything. It's so hot.
Because you said you're in California, right? Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you had quite the dub streak as like you were as going into this pro league. You like, what were your numbers like on Twitch? Like just like what,
I
like
had like
6?
10,000 followers.
Yeah, but like you were averaging like 30 to 50, 60, something like that.
Yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
have this streak where you become number one like kills in pro league. Then you get the DZ pickup, and then you followed that up with the number one ranked grind, which you have significantly fallen off from.
Which was after winning regionals, so I think that's the main reason that helped.
Yeah, and so you win
That, like,
regionals
blew up
after
my
joining
shit.
DZ, and then you have the number one ranked grind, and then you're just straight popping over 1,000 viewers. John, can you give us a breakdown into that grind and just what all went into you, especially in this ranked season as it is, holding that number 1 spot for as long as you did?
That grind is horrible. I mean, grinding number 1 is just not fun at all. Anyone that has done it knows that. But it wasn't that bad for me because when I would get on, I would win like every game. So I wouldn't need to be playing like 24 hours. Like obviously I did during the first few days, you know, because you kind of have to. But I would get to a point where like I'd maybe have to play 15, which is still insane. But like I would get good sleep, and like Peep and everyone else like Design, they would like, oh my god, their schedules were fucked, and I'd get like a good like 6-7 hours, you know, get on, do what I want. And then the only reason I stopped was because of scrims. Like I would have kept on going as much as I could, but I wanted to make sure I was like top performance for scrims, you know. But I mean, it was worth it. It was really worth it.
Nice.
Do you got one, Finn?
My biggest thing was just going to be the transition from like actually still more onto that whole DZ squad. Like I still, it is like absolutely insane that you're like that you got picked up. Like this whole everything, like from console all the way to like you literally getting picked up by DZ and then showing out is pretty like thinking at that is actually so remarkable. And also just how crazy of a cool opportunity that it was for you to be able to play for DZ. It's just because they had already been established, right? Like it does. Yeah. What like your story just like doesn't happen. And I just think that's so sick. I mean, it just shows how incredibly talented you are though. And how like much you have whenever it comes to game knowledge comparatively to all the other roller players, because let's be honest here, there's not like a whole lot of difference between the best roller. Well, I mean, I think you can make a little bit of an argument, but I would say mechanics just alone won't take you to be the best player in the world. And I think you showcasing that you're not just two thumbs and an aim assist, right? Like you have more. You're a smart player, and I think that is kind of what separates a good roller player from a great roller player. And I'm keep like racking my brain around how insane your story and like the come up is. I don't know, it's just so impressive and like such a cool opportunity. I think it was just like a perfect storm. Can you speak to ZZ being y'all's coach? I know it wasn't for too long, but was there any additions that you felt like, okay, yeah, that's really good, or maybe he told you something that you like, maybe he was watching your VODs or something, that him as a coach has been an addition for you, like leading up into LAN?
Yeah, he's really helpful. Like, I always talk to him about like, hey, if you think I need to work on something, like let me know, because obviously no one's perfect, you know, and you won't realize what you're doing wrong. Like someone else will like see it, and it's like some shit that you just won't see, and he's really helpful about that. Like he's not annoying about it. Sometimes coaches can be annoying, you know, like especially when you like die and you're frustrated. But he knows like sometimes you just gotta wait a little bit, and he knows when not to do that. Like when not to just like everyone's mad after dying, and he just like brings up something and like gets mad at someone. Like that just doesn't happen. He's just like really good about it, and he just helps everyone on the team. He's really good with like ideas and stuff too. It's really helpful.
Through all the people that you have played with, because you probably played it throughout with a lot of people, who would you say is the most influential person that has helped you like learn the game of Apex at the highest level?
There was definitely Tech. Tech helped me from the beginning. I was really bad at comp. Like obviously I was like decent, you know, but he helped me with all my like minor mistakes and like what I needed to work on. It's like comms and stuff, and like how to play as a team and like scrims and stuff. He was really helpful, and I think he knows that. He can help anyone, man. He's really good at like helping like players that need to learn comp.
Or someone needs to sign Tech to just be like,
so just somebody, please.
Yeah,
like,
player development.
Please,
he's so good at that, man.
Like it's just so unfortunate. It's like watching like somebody steal candy from a baby every single time. Like this poor guy has had so many. And I'm not like saying that about you. It's like it's a great opportunity to go play for like an org. It's just unfortunate that he doesn't have an org, like, and it just keep teammates.
Yeah, and he understands that like joining DZ is just like a huge thing. Like he understands that like it's kind of hard to deny it when we're unsigned and we weren't even like fully qualified for LAN. Like he knows, he understands it.
But it's good that he was able to help you and help you grow and learn more as a player
Yeah.
and kind of get you to this
Hmm.
point because arguably without him, who knows, where you're at, now.
Yeah.
So, shout out Tech, shout out Tech. Um,
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to go more a while back. Finn asked the question and said like, how like your entire journey, do you just feel like you're the best all the time? And you said, no, I don't want to flaunt that. I don't want to feel like I don't want people to think that that's what I'm about. Is there a way
Yeah.
that you found to help keep you grounded in that way? Is there like a person or maybe just an outlook on life that you want to kind of adopt to make sure you keep yourself, under wraps, not too much to where you're, getting your head's getting too big?
Well, there's a lot of pro players that like should have a reason to have an ego and they just don't. And I mean, if you look at them and you're like, damn, if they have a reason to have an ego and they don't, like, why should I? Like that. I look at it kind of that way. Like, if I don't deserve to have an ego, why do I have one?
Was there like a role model in the scene that you kind of look at and say that about?
Mm, I don't know, like an exact person, but I'd have to think about it more. But I mean, if I thought about it, I'll let you know. But I mean, I don't have an exact person.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, so we're gonna do the double tap, and essentially what it is I'll say 5 different statements, and then you'll respond with like one word or two. Some people do multiple, depending on how you feel in the moment. But we try to stick around one, and then we'll just do them quickly. Does that sound good?
All right, yeah, sounds
All right,
good.
all right. Number 1, hardest part of Apex Legends.
Comp
Number
competitive
2, best IGL in the game.
0.
Number 3, Catalyst.
Annoying.
Number 4, car submachine gun.
It could be better.
Number 5, ALGS Champs 2023.
Man, it's Dark Zero, bro.
That's a good answer, bro.
Oh, that's something I wanted to ask about. So you've gone to this LAN now, like your first LAN, you've got it under your belt. Obviously, you guys come away with the victory. Everything's cool. Everything's great. But I'm sure there's some things that they could adjust and they could fix on their end, maybe that you saw that, in the future that you would hope that is better, whether it be in game, maybe it's structural, whatever it may be. Is there something right now that you'd like to see change before we get to champs?
I think the meta and like just the weapon meta could change a lot. Like I don't like the Prowler meta. And I think watching Catalyst end games is very boring. Like, especially from a viewer's perspective. Like I don't know, it could be a lot better. Like the Gibby meta was pretty entertaining, but every player hated it. So it's kind of different for like the player and the viewer perspective.
Say Gibby meta comes back. Who's hopping on the Gypster?
Definitely 0. Definitely 0. MNK.
Dude, that's actually crazy to think about. That would be wild. I think it would be fun to have a little bit of a change from not just weapons but also legends as well. Do you think like that legends are the reason why weapons are meta, or do you think it's vice versa? Do you think weapons are the reason why legends are meta?
I think it's just the input right now. Like controller with SMGs, it's just insane. Especially the Prowler. Prowler in R9 meta is insane. And Gibby didn't even nerf Gibby when Gibby meta ran away. It's just Seer. Seer just became OP, so everyone just got off Gibby. Meta can come back any day.
Dude, that ulti is still 300 seconds. Yeah. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's hard because, dude, I saw so many Newcastles. Were you expecting that many Newcastles?
Yeah, people have been playing them a lot in scrims and international scrims. I didn't really pay attention to how many teams are playing them, but I definitely saw a lot of people playing them.
It's crazy. It's pretty. I guess that was one question that I was going to ask. I know you said international scrims were pretty easy because you guys had so much confidence, but is there actually a real difference that you can actually feel in the gameplay because of how people either play style or two, like their actual legends, like a Newcastle, like you're having to kind of adjust based off of the legends that you're going against? Is that like how much different is that from going from NA Pro League to then now going to international?
People just play characters different and other regions and stuff. It's weird how it works out. Like, I mean, you never really saw Newcastle in NA. Like, I don't know if you guys noticed that. Like, never. Maybe 100 Thieves, and that was like a while ago. But I mean, people just like have different comps in other regions. It's actually insane how that works out. Like it just completely different metas.
All right, E, you want to hit him with your?
Yeah. All right. So I got a question that I ask everybody who comes on the show, because everybody who comes on the show is performing in the top 1% of what they're doing. And clearly after this weekend, you are certainly in that category. And so what is one thing that you've learned on the journey to get to this level that somebody could take and apply to anything that they wanted to be in the top 1% in their life? And so not necessarily just Apex and gaming.
I don't know, man. You just gotta go for what you want to do. 'Cause, like, I mean, this could have just not worked out for me at all, you know. And I just kept on going, and then I'm here, you know. So I mean, you just gotta keep working at what you want to do, no matter what it is. Like, I never thought I'd be here, especially this quick. It's kind of just insane, you know. Just keep doing what you want to do, and it'll work out.
Awesome, man.
Good
Well,
answer.
it's been a pleasure having you on, and once again, congratulations on winning the LAN. Usually, I
Thank you,
end
man. Thank
every
you.
interview with saying, hopefully next time we see you, you'll have the trophy. Well, you already got it. So, congrats to you guys. Congrats to Dark Zero,
No,
and I'm sure you guys are getting ready for champs, and we'll see how you guys perform there. But thank you for hopping on. We appreciate your time, man.
thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, that was the man, the myth, the legend, Xynew, hopping on the pod, fresh off of a LAN win. We do have to say Xynew wasn't feeling the best, so you know the second the interview ended, he was putting down the Tylenol, needed to get to sleep. So he
And
was.
shout out him for coming on.
Shout out him
despite
for
not
even
feeling
hopping
well.
on.
What an absolute
Yeah.
legend!
Yeah.
He just wins at
literally
everything.
Just wins a LAN, gets back home, not feeling well, still decides to hop on the pod because of how bad he felt about telling me no all of the times that he had
Yeah.
said previously.
I think that's.
But he did tell me.
Yeah.
He said he was like, "I'll win LAN and then I'll come on the pod."
Yeah,
And then
we tweeted that, right?
Yeah,
We
we
tweeted,
tweeted
like, the
picture?
screenshot?
Yeah, the screenshot.
Yeah.
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 If you don't have Twitter, the second he won, like we were like, who are we gonna get? And then immediately Enoch sent the screenshot, was like, we already got one, and it was Xynew sending him a DM back being like, now I come on the show. Which was
Dude,
just
I hadn't even messaged him. I hadn't messaged
Yeah.
him because
Crazy it is.
it was like one of the pods where we were like scrambling to find a guest, like super last minute. And I remember I went in and I asked him, I was like, dude, pod, like this is the time, let's do it. And he was like, like I don't think I want to do it. He was like, let me win LAN and then I'll come on. And he was like, yeah, I'll win LAN and then we'll come on the pod. And then yeah, we were trying to figure out, we were like, we got to get somebody from Dark Zero. I was like, oh, I'll definitely get Xynew. And I didn't even have to message him, and he just messaged me that, and I was like, let's go. And then yeah,
the rest is history.
of course.
But shout out the 17-year-old legend Xynew for hopping on, and I can't wait to see what him and Dark Zero do coming up here in the future. Speaking of somebody who is just starting their career and then moving over to somebody who is now ending it, his Watson has hung up the mouse and the
Sticks?
keyboard. I didn't know what to say there. He's hung it up. Usually you say you hung up the cleats, or like, you know, you put it all away. I don't know what to say in that situation, but his Watson is officially retiring from competitive Apex and deciding to focus more on the content, which I just got to be honest, like I feel like his Watson content wise is going to slay. Like he was already hilarious to watch, like already, and now that he gets to focus on it 100%, I think he's just going to slay even more. But Enoch, you know him a little bit better. Talk a little bit about his Watson and his decision.
Yeah, so from the message, I mean, from the tweets and well, like his explanation that he had on Twitter, he makes it clear that it was just something that he wasn't happy doing. And so if you don't have that, I feel like we already talked about this. Did we talk about it on the pod?
We only talked a little bit about it. We had mentioned it. We didn't, but we were gonna say that we were gonna like go more into it now.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I remember we talked about why. Oh, we covered our thoughts on why Faria didn't play well, and that's when I was talking about how like the difference is like if you're not happy and you're not passionate about like yeah, and so I think that's a big thing. And it seems like this was something that he was feeling for a while, was that he wasn't enjoying it and he wasn't happy, and so I wouldn't consider it a rage quit by any means, even though the timing of it is as soon as they had gotten locked out of moving forward. But I definitely think it was something that he was planning to do for a while. And so I'm excited that he is doing something because it's going to be something that makes him happy, and not him doing something because other people have these expectations that he should be playing comp. And so I'm excited to see him get back to the stream grind and to be doing his thing. And it's going to be fun because his Watson streams, they're a good time. And we haven't been seeing nearly as many his Watson streams as we used to. That man was one of the most consistent grinders that Twitch has seen. And he's been taking some time, collecting himself, enjoying himself, adapting, adjusting his schedule. And so when he comes back and he's back on the stream grind, it'll be fun to watch. That's for sure.
Even if you just focused on content, just making tweets alone, he was already Hall of Fame at that in the Apex community. So, I mean, imagine
he's an immaculate content creator. From like the YouTube videos he's doing, from the Twitter stuff he's been posting, because there was a time where I was bigger than Watson on Twitter. Watson has absolutely just blown past so many people on his growth, basically since the whole number one go with Hal, and then to the LAN. He's just been popping, exploding, and he's constantly posting good, relatable content, and his meme game is pretty strong. His Discord definitely, I think, is lobbing him a lot of good ones, man. I think he comes up with a good amount of them himself. Yeah, he is one of the, like, not only is he one of the best like mechanically skilled players in the game, he also just happens to be one of the best content creators that the game has as well.
Yeah, I'm thinking of more incoming no armor to masters type of situation again. But yeah, I think this I think if you're good at making content and you're creative enough and you're dang good at the game, I think you're going to be a successful content creator. I think he's kind of proven that. I mean, shoot, he was doing it before he even did competitive, and then he just started doing competitive for fun. And then, like, I don't know. People saw this coming. I think a lot of people saw this coming just because he had been tweeting out maybe 6 or 7 months ago, like, hey, comp is boring, and which is crazy to think about. But I think a lot of people saw this and were like, okay, maybe not super surprised by it. Especially those that follow him pretty closely knew that he had been kind of talking about it, but I just didn't expect it right now. I thought he would maybe hit the LCQ. If that didn't work out, then he would do it. But I guess if he felt like, yes, this is the right time and he wanted to kind of set them up to maybe have a better chance at LCQ, I respect that as well. So yeah, I don't know what this team is going to look like. I know that they just signed Alb, and that's for another topic, but I think that they are going to be losing quite a bit in Watson. Just his leadership and his shot calling, I think, was his experience is just. I mean, he proved it, bro. He proved that he could do a comp thing if he wants to. If he doesn't want to do it anymore, okay, But I think he came and he proved what he was wanting to do, which is that he could do comp and do it at a high level. And I think he did it. He accomplished that. It's a short career, but dang, was it a banger.
Yeah, literally the entire time it was wild. From the start to the finish, it was wild for Watson. And that's really all you can ask for from start to finish. Another person, well, this could also be a case that we see Watson coming up on in the future. Just depends on how the cookie crumbles. But Mandy is returning to comp. Friend of the program has hopped on the show. Mandy back in comp. How do you guys feel about this? And maybe where do you guys think he slots in here?
Wait, I think you should go.
Dude, I have. Is this EMEA? I'm never talking EMEA ever again. I'm never putting him in prediction. I refuse to talk about him. The fact that I put 2 teams in there out of the kindness of my heart, almost 3, and that's how they treated me, not even getting a kill. Not even getting a kill.
So,
Ascend. I'm looking at you.
What does Amia have to do to like get in your good graces? What?
I can't even like think of the thing that like I don't know. They fly us out. The entire region's like, hey, we'll fly you guys
Yeah.
out for free. You guys all inclusive.
You get to
I
go
don't
to
know,
champs. You get to go to champs.
dude. Like I don't think I've ever been more convinced that NA is just so much more dominant than every other region than just this last LAN. And that, I mean, even if an
There have
EU
been
team,
people.
oh, go
There
ahead.
have been people tweeting out that NA Pro League is more difficult than LAN Finals.
Yeah,
those
people
are
have been
some takes
saying
that have been had on Twitter. I just wanted to interject that really quick. Proceed, my fault.
No, it's all. I honestly, that's all I have to say. Is just I don't even know if they can get back in my good graces unless all. I think the only thing that they would have to get top 5 in champs, all 5 EMEA teams. Like that's the only way I could see it and be like, okay, well maybe they can contend. But if
Not
like,
even if one wins one, they're still chalked for you.
well, what if they win one, but then it's 4 NA teams right behind them? Like,
I mean,
then
of course, it's going to be 4 NA teams right behind them. This is Apex
Yeah.
Legends we're talking about.
Exactly. So like that doesn't change. It would have to be like if they did like a top 10 sweep of it, and I'd be like, okay, well I have to respect it now. But I don't see that happening. We got too many shooters out here. NA. I don't know. They piss me off. I'm mad. My prediction looks so terrible. It's really my fault. It's not theirs, but it is what it is. I don't even remember what we were talking about. I just blacked out talking about. Ascend.
I was gonna have you talk about Mandy first, but
Okay. Well, here's what I will say. Mandy he was already an incredible player. It looks like he saw what everybody else was out here doing. It reignited a flame in him to be like, okay, I can do this. And when we had talked to him, it was like he was kind of on the fence about it, being like, I'd have to be the right situation. I think now it's just when you have somebody who has the competition within them, they're going to find a way for it to get reignited no matter what. And I think he saw this and was like, I need to be in this. I need to be a part of this again. And that's what he's going to do. Like, yes, he's had a lot of success in streaming and all the other stuff, but you know, for somebody who's extremely competitive, sometimes that's just not enough. So I'm excited to see where he lands and what he does. Maybe he'll fly out NA and he'll join an NA team and he'll dominate that way. That'd be sick. That'd be super dope. What do you guys think?
pretty similar. I mean, he did say it on our podcast that he was like, if the right scenario came up, he would join back, and that's where I still think he's at. I think he wants to join back, but it's got to be an established group. I think I was mentioning that earlier on in the podcast. This guy's a talent though. Like I mean, he is unbelievable. I mean, even from the one rank session that I played with him, it got absolutely hard body karate carried. I mean, he's dropping 3Ks. I'm like searching for people on the map to even do damage so that I don't look like a noob. This guy is killing them from, I mean, long range Narnia through the wardrobe with his longbow, killing them, hitting. I mean, it's just ridiculous, dude. I'm literally like sprinting to try and find people. This guy's insane. I know it's just ranked, but he's obviously showcased in the past in his competitive career that he's done well. Who is he going to play with? I don't know. But do I think he's going to be successful? Absolutely.
You said that you only think he'll join a established team. I do think that there's a possibility and a chance, depending on if Hardeki would be willing to play on a team where his like main language wouldn't be the primary comms, but a team of Mandy, Hardeki, Graceful is a possibility.
I don't mind that.
And that team, Triple M and K, but disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
They would be able to do what 100T does, which is they can be a lot more flexible on their their legend compositions because they're not bound by like, okay, well, what's our roller going to be playing, and so if they can all kind of, I think if they can play high mechanical skill and as long as the meta like kind of allows that to happen, they could be very, very scary because they could run a lot of different comps that are not very normal.
Yeah, so
it'd be a fun team to watch. That would be an instant crowd favorite for sure.
Instantly. Literally instantly. But yeah, so that is the news that we have for right now. We do have all the other news, like we said at the beginning of the show, in the pipeline that we will talk about in the next coming episodes after LCQ and all that, kind of breaking down our full thoughts on it. And plus, we'll have a little bit more tape on some of these roster moves. The roster mania right now is going insane. But before we get to the heart-to-heart, we said we were going to talk our predictions, and we got to do it. We got to do it. So we'll see who has the best one here. It's an open table gentleman's discussion, like Enoch predicted, or like Enoch tabled last week how we should do it. So I think we should all go through our predictions right here, and kind of, does anybody want to go first? Anybody?
I think there's an argument to be made. I'm gonna let Wyatt. Let's make Wyatt go last because
Yeah, I agree.
I think in all terms of a hard L, I think Wyatt fits the category in this. I'll go first. I'm going to make an argument that I think I probably got first. But here's why. My top 5 all made it to all made it to Sunday. And then everybody except for NRG made it to top 10. And NRG got 11th. So I think that there's...
who was your top 5?
My top 5, number 1, NRG, number 2, XSET, number 3, TSM, number 4, Alliance, number 5, Optic. My dark horse was Moist.
Okay. Enoch.
I had XSET winning, Alliance in second, NRG in third, TSM in fourth, LG in fifth, with Complexity being my dark horse, which they didn't make it to Sunday, which is unfortunate. So it'd be hard to argue that my list was better than Fenn's. Also, he did have Optic in his top 5, and they did better than Luminosity. So I'd have to. I mean, there's no chance Wyatt won. Like,
I think it's between me and E. I don't think
horrible. So it was really just only between me and Fenn. But
you guys can even let me say mine?
I'll concede the win to Finn and a GG's to him.
Thank you.
And I think that all of us learned a very important lesson of that we should never not have Dark Zero in our top 5 again.
Yeah.
Because those boys, when it comes, I mean, they're moving different. They're moving different, especially with Xynew on the team. Definitely will not be putting them outside of my top 5. No chance.
Yeah, so I had Ascend number 1. I had Furia number 2. Just a banger first 2, by the way. Just right off rip. Just incredible. Just an incredible first 2. XSET 3, Energy 4, Alliance 5, and my dark horse was 100 Thieves. Looking from 2 down, like 3 down, not too bad. XSET, Energy, Alliance, 100 Thieves. So that's really going for me, I would say. And I also have proof that I can show. On 5, I actually wrote down Fire Beavers, crossed it out, and then I wrote down DZ, crossed it out, and then I put Alliance. And I will show you. Oh, wait, no, I can't because I wrote one of my passwords for my Gmail on here. I don't want to flash that.
No, don't
just
do
believe
that.
me. Just believe me when I say.
I mean, you've already been. You're already pretty low in the dumps right now. I believe you.
Let's just say, for instance, I did put Dark Zero as 5th, but I still had Ascend at first. Would I is there an argument for me?
Say that again. If you put
if I had
5th?
Dark Zero down, Dark Zero at 5th, but I still had Ascend at first, is there? Do I have an argument?
Hurt. No. Well, I don't.
Because nobody else had Dark Zero.
No, right. But Dark Zero, yeah. No, yeah. I think you could maybe.
I would have an
you and E would be arguing for second, I think.
Yeah. I would have like a seat at the table. Right now, I am outside eating from the dumpster with my Ascend pick. And you know what's so crazy? The whole weekend, I thought I put Alliance number 1. I was like, all right, well, it's not that bad. At least I had Alliance. And I didn't have that.
Did you just get them mixed up?
I guess so. The whole weekend I thought I had Alliance. I was like, okay, well, I was in Discord with my friends being like, okay, guys, for my picks to do well, I just need Alliance to do somewhat decent. Like the whole weekend, I just thought I had Alliance first. And no, I had Ascend. And then me and my friends were just tearing into Ascend the whole time watching it. It was bad. It was bad. So yeah, Finn, congrats on the predictions.
Thank you.
I would say not only that, you get comeback player of the year for not having energy as making it to Sunday. So comeback player of the year for you, and you get the trophy of having the best prediction.
Yeah,
Look at this.
I had to do what I had to do with the energy pick too. So,
Yeah.
dude, if
Yeah.
energy actually didn't make it to Sunday, what would I have done? Probably would have retired fully.
You probably would have been like
from
me,
Predictions,
just
I
yelling
think,
at
so.
clouds, being like, "They didn't get a kill." Yeah, no,
Not one.
not one.
I don't know, dude. Sin not getting a kill is actually
That's
horrible,
crazy to me.
bro. That's actually really, really bad.
Especially
4
like some of their
points?
placements, like they had like a 9th place. Like, how do you get to 9th and you didn't like? Did you not put any shots down range? What's going on there? What's going on? I looked at their KD. Kashira had like a 0.43 KD. Come on. What am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to do? Anyway.
Yeah, it's just one. You're just gonna have to hold on. Hold on the chin. Big. You know what is big? Like absolutely massive for you. This upcoming champs like predictions for you is
I need
really
a
gonna
bounce
make
back.
or break. Yeah, it's really gonna make or break. So good
Yeah,
luck.
I need to bounce back, and honestly, I can't just bounce back. I need a dark horse to just pop off. Like I need a dark horse to go insane to kind of bounce back. You know what I was thinking about, Finn? We have a trophy case of L's on this podcast. Like right now, the L's are yours, your energy, me saying Alliance, and right now the only one who doesn't have an L in the trophy case is Enoch. I was trying to think of what he had said. The only
I really
thing that
don't
comes
know.
close was when he said the Prowler is better than the 9. But then
it ended up being okay for land. Like if you
yeah,
look at
because
it-
now it's like actually good.
I know.
So
I do think it was a land buff comparatively to an R9 though. Let's be real here.
yeah.
Let's not give
But
him
either
too much
way,
credit, okay?
Enoch needs the big L. Enoch needs to have his L take soon.
Okay, but it's weird because as a podcast though, whenever we have people on, they do well the week after though. So like we have a W case as well for the people that come on and then they do super well.
Also, something that when I was editing the show earlier, that I realized that could end up in the L take trophy case was my FaZe take from yesterday. Because if FaZe just falls off a cliff at champs, I'm fucked. I have 2 L's in the case. I don't think that's gonna happen. But like, dude, like how am I supposed to defend myself if that happens?
You did
know?
say that they've been consistent for a long time.
No, okay. I listened back. I didn't say they'd been consistent. I said
You listed them.
I listened
you
to
as
it.
a team that had been performing at the likes
I
of
just
Xset
listened to it
and
before we recorded
NRG.
this. Listen, I said, okay, this is what I said. If I want a team who has been good for a while. I said Xset, and then I said energy, and then I was like, one that's kind of maybe, and then I said FaZe. That's how I set it up. I gave the kind of. So yes, I did kind of say it, but I also gave a little buffer. There was a little buffer there, little buffer. But that could end up in the L take trophy case if everything falls apart.
Whatever helps you sleep at night, Wyatt. That's all that really matters,
I just listened to it.
I know, I'm joking. I'm joking.
That sounds like something Big Plastic
Yeah,
would push.
He's a part of Big Plastic. I've never
Finn
been a part
is
of Big.
Plastic.
I've
Finn,
strayed
yeah,
away.
Did you drink your Twix
I
poison
didn't
today?
this morning. No, I've been pretty
Thank
tired.
God.
I'm not gonna lie.
Another day spared for you.
Yeah,
Thank goodness.
I guess. so.
Appreciate. We need to get you off Big Plastic.
Well, maybe someday when they're
And
not
Taco
paying me
Bell.
under the table.
And Taco Bell.
Oh,
Also,
shit.
don't
I'm
get
not
him off
eating Taco
I'm
Bell,
a part.
bro.
I'm a
I'm
part
on a
of Big
diet,
Taco
bro.
Bell
I've been.
right now.
no.
Dude,
I'm not gonna lie. I'm heavy in Big Taco Bell right now. They've got me. The beefy melt burrito with fire
I was
sauce. No
I
sour
was
cream.
once in the
Oh.
Taco Bell, stranglehold.
Clutch. You're in the.
How do you beat a Baja Blast? Like what?
It's
What
hard.
beats
That's
that?
what got Finn. That was the poison that got Finn.
That's where I'm at because
The
now they're
sugar
selling it at
rush.
gas stations.
I know they are,
Like-
dude. If they're back, they used to sell them at Walmart too, which is crazy. They used to have a Baja Blast Zero at Walmart in can form. I would get like 20. Dude, it was bad. It was really, really
Dude,
bad.
you know it's even worse than that. I went to a bar a few days ago and there was a guy holding a beer glass, but it was green, and I was like, "What the fuck is that?" So I asked him. They make Baja Blast beer now, and I tried it, and it tasted exactly like Baja Blast. It didn't taste like a beer at all, and I was like, "This is dangerous. I'm never ordering this ever because I can't go down. You can't go down that road. If I'm already drinking the soda, you can't also drink the beer." But yeah,
Yeah,
so Baja
it's
Blast is surrounding me at all times. I just have to avoid it,
well,
which I will
hope
do my best to do.
yeah. Well, if you hit the gym,
Can't
then
let Big Baja win.
yeah, then Taco
can't.
Bell won't be in your grass nearly as much. You know what I'm saying? So
That is
keep
correct.
hitting the gym is what I'm trying
I
to
will.
say.
I will. Speaking of that, because that was my last week's heart to heart, let's throw it on down to the heart to heart and send you guys on the rest of your week. Let's get it. All right, ladies and gents, it is heart to heart time. Heart to heart time. Does anyone want to go first?
I'll go first.
Do
I will
it.
say this. I said this earlier, dude. I had to get, and it probably got clipped because it probably will continue to keep getting clipped. But you have to go through the suck. All right. I am in the midst of the mud. I am in the suck right now. My shoulders hurt so bad. My chest hurts really bad. My lower back hurts, and I'm just embracing it and taking it on the chin, similar to Wyatt with his ascend pick. I really do feel that way mentally. It is challenging right now. It's more of a mental game than a physical game. I think it is. It really is. So I would say for all those that are grinding out there, specifically in the gym, yeah, just embrace the suck. Just embrace it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I'm gonna say. But I am proud of everybody that is out there embracing the suck, no matter what it is.
Embrace the suck, you will get to where you need to go. That's great advice. Thank you, Finn. I appreciate that. Enoch, do you want to go or do you want me to go?
You can rip it.
Okay, so I've been holding on to this for a long time, and I finally, I'm finally getting around to saying everything. But told the boys this a while back. There is a baby on the way, and it's getting nitty gritty time for me, getting pretty close. So I'm kind of excited, and I was holding on to it because I guess it's not customary to tell every single person ever before the first trimester is over that you're having a baby because things can be complicated. But I was telling everybody. I remember I was at a bathroom stall and there was a guy standing next to me who was like, "Hey, my girl's pregnant." He was like, "Oh, nice. Congrats, dude." And I was like, "Sweet." I didn't know the guy at all. I just told him. And so, yeah, so I was very excited, but I had to pull back. I had to pull back, and that's what I did. And now I can finally start to say stuff. So, very excited. Baby on the way, little girl, got a girl on the way. So, I'm pumped. That's my heart to heart this week. Another heart on the way. So, yeah. That's my heart to heart. Enoch.
I feel like with where I'm at right now, I feel like there's a lot of different directions that things could be headed. And so I'm just going to try to focus on just enjoying wherever it ends up going. I've got potentially some things that I'm cooking up in the works that would be really exciting if it comes to fruition. And so I'll potentially be hearing about some of that stuff a little bit from now. And then in terms of like ALGS, we got LCQ coming up, and this is a big tourney. Because dude, we are looking so good for champs, and I'm really excited for us to have the opportunity to show up and show out, and show how good of a team we really are. And so, with all of the uncertainty that I got going on, just with the different way that things could be going in my life, I'm incredibly optimistic, and I just want to approach everything from a place of being incredibly optimistic, just because I know that even if it doesn't go as well as I think it is, if I spend the majority of my time thinking about how great everything is going to be, that's way better than me spending all my time worrying about, what if things don't go work out. And so it's just going to lead to me having like a better quality of life. And so I'm doing my best to focus on that. And yeah, dude, but I'm like genuinely, I'm optimistic and I'm excited for the future. And I think there's a lot of cool things on my horizon.
Beautiful. There we go. Things on the horizon for all of us here, and
We're
it's
rooting
exciting.
for you, by the way.
we're
We're
rooting
rooting
for
for
you.
you on the
Yeah.
pod here.
Appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir. Okay, ladies and gents, that should just about round it out for the pod. Next week, we're going to talk LCQ, correct, boys? LCQ next week.
LCQ, the stuff that we didn't really get to go over too much this week. I mean, it's probably already going to be a long episode right now, but we've got a lot of stuff on the upcoming off season leading up to champs. We've got quite a few interviews lined up. We're really excited about some of the stuff that we got cooking up. So stay locked, stay loaded.
Yes, that's right. So we're going to send it on down. We'll catch you guys next week for another episode of the Apex, the podcast. Don't forget to click the link down below to follow along with all of our social medias to keep in tune with all of the boys. We'll catch you guys next week. See you.